This is your 4-minute warning. We got about 4 minutes. Go ahead and get your drinks or snacks, go to the restroom. We got about 4 minutes and then we're going to get rolling. Good afternoon, everyone. If you want to start making your way to your seats, we're on a 13-second countdown. All right, come on in, everyone. We are going to get started. Going to get started on the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. If anyone in this room does not know me, that's okay. My name is Josh Karshan. I am the Director of Business Development at WHIN. So I should know every farmer here, hopefully. And if not, come and introduce yourself to me. I would love to meet you. Guys, we have a great show planned out today. We are going to take you guys into the world that WHIN is. We're going to take you into the inner workings of how we find and prove out all these technologies. We're going to show you a little bit on how the sausage is made. So it's going to be a fun journey. We have a lot of awesome companies out here. Shout out to our international companies. We have companies here from Canada, and we have companies here from Australia, you guys. Let's give a round of applause to our tech companies who made a long way to come over here. If you get a chance, BioScout is from Australia. Go ahead and give them a wave. And I'm calling BioScout out right now, not only because they came so far, but they actually have to leave early to go out to San Francisco. So when we're done talking about BioScout, if you want to go see him, just go get him before he heads out, because he will leave a little earlier than everyone else, okay? So we have an awesome program today. And again, international companies, domestic companies, you WHIN farmers, you're kind of a big deal. And a lot of the companies are starting to realize that. So that's why everyone's here today. We're thankful for everyone who came. Just some housekeeping tips. We have some snacks and drinks out there all day long. We do have a planned break, I think in about an hour and a half-ish. That's going to be a time to get up, to go look at all the demo tables, to go outside, to touch and feel all of the equipment, to talk to the founders, to talk to other farmers and network. If you need a restroom break, please get up and go. They're right out the doors and to the left. And bathroom breaks and demos and surveys. Surveys are the next most important thing, almost more important than the technologies themselves. At the end of the show, guys, we're going to have a survey that we really, really need you guys to fill out. It helps us not only with the technologies and where to go, but also where WHIN should be looking at next year and how we can improve this event. And most years, I actually throw out a little threat saying you're not going to get any food if you don't turn in the survey. I'm going to stick with that. But that's all I'm going to go with that. So please don't make me come and hunt you down. Please go ahead and turn those surveys in, and I will be very, very appreciative. As we get started, I'm going to hand it off to my boss, the one and only Johnny Park, the CEO. So Johnny, come on up. Johnny's going to give a little bit of the State of the Union address, and he's going to talk all about where WHIN has been and where we're going, and really all of the good stuff that we get to look forward to. So here's Johnny.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Well, welcome to the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. I'm very, very thrilled to see many of you, a lot of familiar faces, also new faces as well. A few days ago, actually, marked my 8 years here at WHIN. And reflecting back, I'm just so grateful for all the small and big steps we've taken together. It also occurred to me that this mission of the organization of WHIN, it has become a lot more clear to me, just clearer than ever before. And I am even more excited about our organization's mission, that how we can make positive and unique role in communities that we serve. Very, very excited about that. But before I talk about the mission, I want to kind of talk through why that mission matters. And I want to do that with 3 historical evidences. All right? So, if you bear with me, 3 historical evidences. The first, you should all be very familiar with this chart. So this is average corn yield in the US, all the way from 1850 to today. So it was about 20 bushels per acre for about 100 years. It was kind of stuck there. And then it started to increase around 1940s and doubled, tripled, quadrupled, all the way to about 200 acres per bushel today. And as you know, all these technologies have played a significant role, right? And many are predicting in 2050 it's going to increase to about 300 bushels an acre. And we all believe that AI is going to be also a contributing factor. All these technologies are going to play a role, but a new technology of AI. So that's one factor. The second, incredible invention. Electricity was invented in 1873, all right? But you probably did not know that it took 46 years for this invention to be applied in 25% of US households, right? It took 46 years. Telephone was invented in 1876. It took 35 years. Television in 1926. It took 26 years to reach 25% of US population. PC, 1975, 16 years. Mobile phone, it took 13 years. The web, it took 7 years. You're seeing the trend here? ChatGPT, 2022. Guess how many years? 1.5 years, right? So again, very clear trend of historical evidence. The third historical evidence is printing press. This is incredible invention, invented in Germany back in the 1400s. What's really interesting about this is that it wasn't the invention, but it was the adoption of this technology that contributed to communities' growth, prosperity. So between 1500 and 1600, European cities where printing presses were adopted, it grew 16% faster than otherwise similar cities. All right? So, what do this all mean? To me, number one, technology drives productivity. So we saw that in the corn yield increase. All those technologies have yielded increased productivity. Technology is evolving fast, faster than ever before. So you saw all those inventions is taking less and less in time to get adopted, is evolving faster than before. And third, probably most importantly, communities that adopt technology first prosper first. This is why WHIN exists. We want to help you, the local communities and businesses, to adopt technologies better, faster, and more responsibly. And that is our mission. And that's why we're here today. Okay? I want to talk a little bit about how we do it, but I just want you to know that this is why WHIN, as a nonprofit, we exist, is that we want to help you to adopt technologies better, faster, and more responsibly. So there are probably two things that are contributing to this. We always find and evaluate emerging technologies. That's what we do. And then we help and support local users like farmers and manufacturers like yourselves so that we can help you adopt better, right? So another way to think about this is that in technology, there's a lot of supply of technology. You see all of those tech companies. We also have demand of technology. These are the users and farmers. And we sit right in the middle. We call ourselves as a WHIN, a trusted intermediary, so that you guys can, again, better adopt the technology. With supply of technologies, we do a lot of rigorous vetting and real-world testing on your behalf. And then with you, through this network, and we support you to adopt this technology. And in the vetting process, we do pretty rigorous. We call our vetting process 5-step process. First, we talk to all these founders and leaders in a tech company around the world. Okay? If that goes well, then we talk to their customers. And if that goes well, we talk to our members, our farmers and manufacturers. Hey, here's a price. Here's what it does. Would you buy this? If that goes well, then we do custom pilots. We actually try this in your farm and see if that goes. Only then, if that goes well, then the company becomes our tech partners. And today, our staff members are going to walk you through each of the stage a little more in detail, but I wanted you to have that in your head. And look at this map. Okay, so this is all the companies that we are currently vetting. It's not just the United States. We have a lot in South America, Europe, Australia, and we have over 200 plus companies in our current pipeline. And that's how much we go out to vet these technologies on your behalf. And when we vet, again, as a nonprofit, we're being very objective, and we ask you how things are going, and we grade them, actually, objectively, what we think about and what we like and what we still have questions about. Pretty rigorous process. And when we do pilots, we do a pretty extensive report on your behalf so that when we recommend to you, that technology is something that we have pretty good knowledge of, and we feel confident that this is a good one for you to use, right? Again, it's not just a vetting process, but we also need to support and engage you to use this technology better. So this is part of the engagement that, again, we're here today, and we want to hear from you, and we want to get your feedback. And the best thing that we've heard over the years is that when farmers explain and describe the ways that they have used their technology on their farms and sharing that honestly and candidly to other farmers, that's the best way for other farmers to learn from them. And so we want to do that today. And we're not just making a recommendation as a report. We are at your farm helping you hands-on to support your adoption so that, again, you can get better and better. You may see some familiar faces here. All right. And I'm very, very pleased to say that WHIN, over the years, have been a regional nonprofit, but we always felt that our model can be scaled to other communities and other countries. I'm very happy to say that we have partnered with FCC, Farm Credit Canada, earlier this year, and we are establishing and replicating what we have been doing here in Indiana throughout Canada. So that just started, this initiative, earlier this year. Well, thank you. But I want to talk about why this is a win for our region, okay? So first of all, we're going to have many elite and progressive farmers trying out technologies, and that's more information for us to bring back to our farmers here in the region. And think about all the tech companies they're working with. Not only are they going to have access to progressive farmers here in Indiana, they're also going to have access to Canadian farmers as well, right? And it brings the credibility to our region, right? We are not just a local, regional entity. We are national and international entity that has a really in-depth knowledge about how technology should be applied and what the farmers really need in their operations. And it's allowing us, as a nonprofit, to do what we do at scale. So very, very excited about that. Also happy to say that we just hit 100 farmer members. When we started about 8 years ago, we had 15 farmers who were excited about what we do. And now we are at 100 farmers, and we are over 600,000 acres that are represented by these 100 farmers. So thank you so much for trusting us and be partnering with you to adopt this new technology in your operations. All right, so I just wanted to give you a quick update on WHIN and set the tone for throughout the day. We have a great program, and it's going to go pretty quick. A lot of information is going to be shared, but most important thing is for you to also share and give us feedback on what you think about each of these technologies. All right. What we also have done is that in the summer we have asked you to fill out a survey. Okay, we asked you to think about 12 different technologies. So this is spray coverage optimization, see and spray, drone spraying, chemical-free weed control, AI crop scouting, infill sowing, combine vision, harvest loss, grain quality, grain bin monitoring, drone rock mapping, autonomous tractors, and equipment routing and operations planning. So 12 technologies we have asked about. Where are you, or how important is this issue on your farm? First of all, that's the first question. And the second question is, where are you with the solution? never heard of it, or aware of it, we're evaluating it, pilot it, adopt it, or reject it. So throughout this program, you're going to see the results of the survey on these 12 different technology categories. Okay? And for those of you, I think we have about 30 submissions in the survey, so very, very rich information. We're going to share that with you, and hopefully that's very helpful for you. So again, with that, I'm going to hand this over to my colleague, Jason, to walk you through what we call stage 1 companies. Here we go.
Thank you. Thanks, Johnny. Okay, so like Johnny said, we work with companies across all different vetting stages. We're going to walk you through sort of the chronology of that here today. So what I want to share is just some of the companies at the very earliest stage that we work with. So we can go ahead and pull that first one up there, please. Oh, wait, I can do it. Thank you. So the stage 1 for us, like Johnny said, founder interviews, and we try to get an overall idea of the company, the space that they're in, their size they are, their traction, where they are with fundraising, the efficacy results that they're getting so far, what markets they're good in, just dozens and dozens of pieces of information that we try to gather at this stage. And to keep in mind here too, we're not only looking at these as a technology in a box. This is a whole company, right? This has a customer service arm, this has a fundraising arm, this has a growth arm, a sales arm. All of those things working together is what makes them an easy company to work with that helps you guys be successful. So we're looking holistically at these companies. So the first one I wanted to talk about is Helio. And again, these are stage 1 for us, and so the majority of our information is coming with just we're initiating, conversations with these companies at stage 1. So Helio is a drone company, much like Scarecrow Technologies that you'll see here today in the back, and they'll be flying over the beans outside here during our expo time. But Helio is unique because when the US closed the market to China for drones, the vast majority of oversized drones useful for ag came from China, DJI. Most of you know DJI. And so the US market was behind in terms of payload size and the flight longevity. And Helio is one of the first to step into that gap. And so we're really interested in what they're doing. Their prices run $18K to about $70,000. The largest unit at the moment is a 68-liter hopper, and they actually have one now even a little bit bigger than that. And so you're able to do significant spraying operations with the Helio. So we're going to continue to watch this company closely. I'm going to give you guys a second here. Go ahead and hit this QR code, and we're just going to take a second to look quickly at the results of what you think of Helio, and in general, the idea of using these oversized spray drones. It's just one question, 1 through 5. Okay. So 1 through 5, level of enthusiasm, 5 being the most enthusiastic. Looks like there's pretty good enthusiasm in the room around Helio or companies like Helio. That's a good signal for us, right? If we didn't want to waste your time, we would come to you with every single technology we were looking at, and you would hear about 200 of them, and that's just not worth your time. So we have to lower it down. But knowing what farmers think of these technologies is super valuable to us. So thank you for your feedback there. Okay, the next one I want to talk about here is Mojo. So some of you saw Sabanto when you drove up. Sabanto is the autonomous tractor driving around with the invisible person in it. They'll be outside driving around here during our break as well. Definitely should talk to Sabanto about what they're doing. There's also a technology many of you may be familiar with that called Bear Flag out of California about 5 years ago, emerged in the market and quickly got bought up by Deere, and Deere folded Bear Flag into their autonomous tractor market. And Mojo would be something kind of akin to Bear Flag and Sabanto. They're unique in that they are agnostic. So anything that can put a person in it to drive it, Mojo could instead drive it. So it could be a sprayer, it could be a tractor, it could be a Kubota or an ATV. So that's kind of a unique position that they're trying to take. I think that they're early. So they don't have full commercial product available. They don't have it kitted yet. They're still kind of learning exactly what their market is, but I like this idea of them being positioned across multiple different forms of vehicles. So you'll see a little bit info on Mojo there. Their iBox is what they call it, does the retrofit system for them. And you'll see again, Bear Flag mentioned there. No public pricing available yet. Had an opportunity to speak with Owen not that long ago, and he's, I think, pretty excited about all the different opportunities that directions this could go. We'll keep an eye on Mojo, but we'd love to hear what you guys think of it. So please do this again. Same question, just enthusiasm. I guess if you want this just on your golf cart, you know, driving around, maybe that would make you more enthusiastic about it. Nobody is enthusiastic at all about this one. Let's see if we can get that worked out. I've got my best technical person on it. Okay, thanks, JW. Okay, some moderate enthusiasm. You know, these drive systems, I'm sure some of you who have tried them before are challenging. The last 10% is just as hard as the first 90%. You know, getting it up and going and driving is sufficiently difficult, but getting it, you know, avoiding obstacles and, you know, avoiding sunlight and these last little things that seem like the small 10% is just as challenging, and that's what's hard about these kinds of robotic systems. Okay, thank you for your feedback there. And next I want to talk about Upside Robotics. So Upside Robotics is actually just a small footprint swarm style bot, so 24-inch wide chassis, so designed to go down the furrows. You'll see Jana there, the founder. We're also in stage 1, as you see there, with Upside. We look at a lot of these swarm style robots. They happen in high valued crops, specialty crops, a little bit more commonly where things are not as rigorous, but Upside is one of the few that we have seen that we think has solved a lot of the problems to be robust enough to potentially survive in row crop farming. They're also using solar power to supplement the battery life, which is also an issue. They're using a multispectral camera system to be able to detect the need for fertilizer and essentially offering spot side dressing as they go through the field. Also, I think a pretty valuable application for swarm style bot compared to cultivation or some of these more, you know, physical operations. So there's a lot of things we like about Upside. We're going to continue to watch, but they have the potential to be robust enough to really maybe be something and work even under the canopy later in the season when fertilizer is particularly difficult. So I'd love to hear what you all think of Upside. There's a lot of different small footprint swarm bots out there. Okay. Helpful signal. All right, thank you guys. And as Johnny mentioned, over the summer survey, we learned a lot of things, talking specifically to farmers in our network. You'll see slides like this throughout the day today, but let me kind of orient you on this one. So you'll see the blue dots here were how they responded to their level of interest in each of the technologies listed. This isn't chronological, right? Think of the x-axis really just as like amount of excitement, right? Amount of interest. So a blue dot on the far right means a lot of interest. A blue dot on the left means they reported a small amount of interest in that particular technology. Whereas the teal dots would be how far they are in actually adopting that technology. So a teal dot on the far right would mean they've already adopted and they're using it. A teal dot on the far left would mean they're just starting to get to know about it a little bit, or maybe trying it out would be somewhere in the middle. So you'll see the difference between those two is pretty interesting. So for example, combine vision, you'll see a fairly low amount of action has been taken on average across our farmers, but a high amount of interest. I would say that all of those that have a teal dot on the left and a blue dot on the right, especially those with a wide distance between them, would be an emerging technology, something really new that seems interesting and valuable, but we're not running out and adopting it. There's a lot of question marks, or it's an entirely new space maybe. And then those at the bottom, you'll see like rock mapping, drone spraying, see and spray invert. So the amount of interest is actually lower than the amount of action. I would say this would be indicative of technologies that are beginning to commoditize. They're beginning to be, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Oh yeah, I need that. Oh yeah, I should get that, right? Or maybe just an early indication of commoditization based on the inversion of action versus interest there. So that's one of the slides about what we learned from our farmers. Now I'd like to introduce Jack Stuckey. Jack Stuckey is WHIN's CTO, and he is going to come and share about companies that are at that next stage after the very first one. So thanks, Jack.
Welcome. Like Johnny said, a lot of you guys are familiar faces. Once again, thank you for all your help throughout the past 8 years being part of the Ag Alliance. So this is the second stage, and so what I'd like to mention is you're going to see a lot of companies up here over the next 10, 15, 20 slides. This is just a small sampling. We spend a large amount of time with companies in each of these 5 stages. And so this stage is about talking with the AgTech companies' customers. And you would think that we'd only talk with the customers that have high praises, but it turns out farmers are pretty honest folks, and so they'll tell us, as Josh likes to say, the good, bad, and the ugly about the products they're using, and it's very, very constructive for us. An example of one of the companies back here, Soil Optics. They have a gamma spectroscopy device that can give you finer granularity in your field for soil mapping. Combining it with soil sampling, you can get a much better understanding of what's in your field and the characteristics of it. You can see here, they can monitor quite a few different aspects of soil, including carbon, and please visit them. So again, I think if you leave your phones on the web page it goes to, it'll go to the next Slido, so you don't always have to scan this. Do I have to do something? All right. So this is a word cloud. Speed. We good? All right. Well, and many of you, as we move towards carbon credits one day, this could very well be one of the ways to validate the fields. All right. What's the biggest con? Accuracy. complex. What is gamma? So gamma radiation comes from the soil, different components of the soil, and you can map those to different characteristics of the soil. Repeatability in soil sampling in general is a really big deal. So one of the, I guess, not dirty little secrets is you send the same sample to 3 labs, you might get 3 different results, or even to the same lab. All right. All right. Next company that's in our stage 2 is TerraWave. And they have a novel way to monitor your grain bins. It's based on some technology around radar waves, and they have the ability to detect hotspots, soil moisture, or not soil moisture, grain moisture, grain levels, and CO2 monitoring. And Mohammed is back here. Please reach out to him. No cables, everything sits in the headspace, and it's solar powered. Oh, I went forward. You go back. Go back. The Pro. Just a side note, we have a famous celebrity in our midst, Scott Fritz, did a video for us on grain bin monitoring for one of the educational programs we did, and he got to sit down on the ground while his son was climbing the bins to check on the smell and the temperature, and so thanks, Scott. Yes, it's much easier to install something in the headspace than running cables down all the way through the bin. All right. What's the biggest con about grain bin monitoring with radar? So just to point out, as you'll see the later stages, if we get to the pilot stage, a lot of this gets resolved. So reliability, customer support, cost, accuracy, and then proven instead of unproven. All right. All right. The third company that we have in this stage, one of many, is BioScout. They are a spore detection platform that sits in the field. It has a microscope that identifies spores in your area and spore counts. One of the things when we first encountered BioScout that we really liked, you see the fin on the back, it points itself into the wind. So you don't have to point your device where the prevailing winds are for say the summer or the fall. And it can detect spores all season long. And so one of the aspects is how many of these would you need in the surrounding area to be able to detect the beginning of, say, tar spot in your area. There's a little bit about them. We'll do one more survey. So just a quick question by show of hands. If you knew there were spores present in your area, would that affect your decision on when to spray fungicide? You're just going to spray it when you normally spray it? Very good. All right. Cons about spore detection in your fields. One of the things that we like about Spore or BioScout is that they can stay in the field all season without having to go out and change out tapes, and so reduces the amount of labor. Very good. Looks like we have a few people still typing. Very good. All right, so this is another representation of what Jason had. Grain bin monitoring seems to be very high on people's list of things that interest them. Combine vision. What I will say is some of you got to hang out with Marcel from Brand Vault and see how monitoring your grain loss can help calibrate your combine and reduce the amount of yield loss. Drone spraying is also pretty high. It's interesting that autonomous tractors are starting to become a reality, and so it'll be interesting next season whether that's moved up in the ranks or if it's falling behind. And then I like the rock mapping. It seems like everybody, that's a pain that you have, that when we first started to talk with TerraClear, we didn't realize how big of a problem it was virtually in every field in our area. All right. I'd like to bring up my counterpart, Carl Hexabeth.
Thanks, Jack. Hello, everybody. Before I get started here, I wanted to call up our panelists, Chris Leahy, Steve Walpe, Heather Nally, and Trent Hall. So Johnny introduced you guys to the AVA network that we're establishing in Canada. I was the first hire for AVA in Canada. We are doing extremely well. In fact, we're doing so well, there's going to be a second person coming on board, starting off some further work for us in Canada. A little bit of background about myself. I live in Manitoba, sort of straight north of Des Moines, Iowa. I think it's about 12 hours by car. We had a grain farm up there and been in the agriculture space my entire career. There's nothing that I get more excited about than ag technology, so this is pretty much a job made in heaven for me. I still do want to get paid though, Johnny, just so you know. All right, so thanks very much for joining me up here, everybody. If you want to just do a quick introduction, your name and how long you have been with WHIN.
My name,
I think so, yeah.
my name is Trent Hall from Wolcott, White County. Been in WHIN for 8 years.
Chris Leahy, White County, been with WHIN for 5 years.
Heather Nally, Benton County, and I think we're going on 3 years. Steve Wolpe, Benton County. I think it's 8 years.
Okay, awesome. Okay, we'll get right into it here with the first technology. GRIP is a frictionless digital platform for your farm's team to track equipment maintenance and a place to house operational knowledge. So basically, it's a software platform that you can load up your own SOPs that you've developed for your farm maintenance on your equipment. It could be a building, it could be a mill or a dairy parlor or something like that. Basically, your staff can have access to this, and as they're going through it, add their own comments and make sure that the tasks are getting done on a timely basis. There's 3 products that come with this. There's a QR code that you stick on the side of the piece of equipment, so the operator of the equipment, if they're doing the maintenance of it or whatever the case may be, can quickly access that record and make notes and adjustments and that sort of thing in real time. The other thing is their platform on the computer, so that's where you can load up all the SOPs and the documentation that you're going to need for your staff to execute the job well. And then, so basically it's a tribal knowledge. It's a place to secure the tribal knowledge of the operations. So with that, the question I would ask the panel is, what are your thoughts on this overall? Some questions that I would ask you is, do you ever feel that you're over-servicing or under-servicing a piece of equipment?
For me, I don't know if I'd use it because usually you can tell if a piece of equipment's been greased or whatever, whoever's taking care of it and stuff. I don't know if that I'd even use it.
I wouldn't be the one servicing the equipment, but I guarantee I would be the one entering all the information, and that does not sound fun.
I guess I could see the benefits for maybe some larger operations than what we have. But with the amount of equipment and stuff that we have on our farm and the help we have, I mean, it's essentially only 5 of us. So large scale operation that maybe has, quite a few more employees than we do and a lot more equipment, I could maybe see it being beneficial, but I don't see us implementing it.
Chris kind of stole what I was going to say. That was with our operation. It's just me and my dad, and we have 3-4 pieces of equipment. So not a whole lot to keep track of. So it's pretty easy for us so far.
Okay, thank you. So I believe we're going to pull up a survey here. So same QR code. Just as we're entering in your values or putting in your vote, one thing that I thought was really kind of ingenious in the development of that is, especially if you've got on your farm multiple people, multiple pieces of equipment, but also multiple languages. So you can enter it in one language and have the user setting on it, and you can interpret it and have it on the other end show up in the language that the other user is set up for. So again, for the larger operations, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, very interesting. Okay, moving on to number 2. So Terra Clear is going to be coming out with a product called Terra Scout. And basically what that is it's going to be a rover that goes across your field, covers about 1,000 acres a day, and it will map your field to 1 millimeter of resolution, and it maps out the specific weeds that are in your field. And from that, you can, once the robot is done going across the field, it'll give you a prescription file so that you can load it up directly into the sprayer. And from there, you'll know exactly how much solution you're going to want to load up so that you're not left with a bunch of chemical in the sprayer at the end of the field. So the question for the panel is, if you are using See and Spray technology today, what's been your experience versus something that, like this, that would be able to give you a quantified value of how much chemical you've got to cover the field when you start? do you have a bunch of residue or a bunch of extra chemical left over at the end of the field?
Yeah, I think if you have See and Spray, I think it could be a great, possibly good product, but I don't have See and Spray at the moment, so.
Same. Always looking to cut chemical costs, so this is something that's intriguing, but we're not set up to be able to implement it yet.
We don't use See and Spray. We actually switched to having our fields sprayed for us, so perhaps if this could be shared with that retailer or custom applicator.
We are using the See and Spray through Tech. I don't know if if they can use the same type of information as far as with their setup, or if it'll go together. But being done ahead of time, I really don't know if it needs to be done ahead of time like that or not.
Okay. Want to pull that QR? Oh. Sure. Okay. 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 Thank you, Jen from TerraClear. So if you didn't hear it, she said they work with individual nozzle control and section control as well. So yeah, if you want to talk to Jen, absolutely give her chat with her after. Yeah.
Sorry, how would that work with section control? And then it'll just automatically turn on when you get to the area. Okay. All right. Well, I'm far more intrigued now.
No, thank you very much for bringing that up. Sorry, Jen, can you repeat the question that you asked? Okay. Okay. We'll just, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Was this a TerraClear? So, okay. Terra Scout. Okay. So the next one is Terra Blaster. So it's an in-motion soil nutrient sensor mounted on a tractor or tillage equipment, and it uses laser-induced spectroscopy, same as the Mars rover, to measure soil nutrients on the go. So it measures it every 80 feet. It's all of your macros as well as the micros, nutrients in your soil. Has a row cleaner in front of it so you can expose the dirt as you get into it, and a coulter disc that cuts through in the top 6 inches of the soil. So what it does is it measures the fertility 20 times a second at 6 miles an hour. And then behind the coulter system, there's a closing wheel so that it gets closes up the furrow. So question for you guys, do you do soil fertility like soil probe or soil fertility sampling on your farm? And would you consider using something like this?
Yeah, we use Rogo Ag to do all our soil sampling, the robotic soil sampling. But I'd have to kind of look into this a little more to know exactly what it's doing. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You're good.
Soil sampling, basically the same thing. I guess I'd have a few questions about it.
We do soil sampling, and I tried to catch a glimpse of the price on there to see if it'd be comparable, but one of the nice things about the soil sampling that we've done in the past is the analysis that comes with it and having that customer service. So I would want to know how much of that is included in that price.
We also use Rogo Ag to do our soil sampling, but we're also all no-till. So my concern would be is having that furrow, and if it didn't close up right or not and stuff, then you'd have that messed up from what you're used to using.
Okay, thank you. And our Slido survey? For the Terra Blaster piece, I really like the fact that it's as micro or as granular as it is, if like you're saying, if the accuracy is there, but versus grid sampling, which is, you know, every 5 or 10 acres or whatever the grid is. Okay, definitely more information needed. Okay. So the final one is Piketa. So Piketa is an optical sensing device for on-demand plant tissue sampling. So basically this is the suitcase that you see there on the screen, and you can bring it into the field and you can do multiple places throughout the farm and throughout the field as often and as immediate as you want. The value proposition here is that it reduces the dependency on sending it away for analysis and waiting that crucial 3-4 days or the length of time it takes to get the results back. So you get the results immediately. And with immediate results, you can make the decisions quicker. So do you guys currently do any tissue sampling on your farm? And would you consider having a system like this on your farm?
We currently do not do any tissue sampling on our farm, and the price looked a little bit high for 1 year being 10,000 and 15 the year after. If you used it, that's one thing. We don't happen to use it at this time.
We've done some tissue sampling with some products that we were testing, so our sampling was free, so that's hard to beat.
We do not do any tissue sampling, and I don't know, I guess with a product like this, it seems like it'd be neat information to have, but I don't see how I'm going to turn it into anything actionable to get an ROI on.
We've been doing tissue sampling where we put manure on every year on where we need to add extra nitrogen or not. And I'm not sure if I would be willing to pay that much, but I wonder if maybe the person that does our tissue sampling, taking the tissues and everything, if they would be a little more interested into it than the farmer side.
Okay. So maybe not you directly, but maybe your agronomist would be a good fit for this. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'd love to hear what you guys think about Piketa. Josh, you're up after this. All right. It's good information. Okay, well, thank you to our panelists for sharing your opinion.
Okay. We have gone through the first, 3 stages of the WHIN vetting process. And as you can see, there's just a lot there. There's a lot that our small WHIN team has to work through. And this was just a little glimpse on the first 3 stages, and there's a few more to come. So here's what the rest of the day is going to look like. We are going to have a scheduled break. We're going to keep it at an hour. We're actually a little ahead of schedule, which never happens, but we're going to keep it an hour. I'm going to be cruising around to see how conversations are going. If we need more time, we can take more time. If not, then we're going to keep going. I'm going to come back, and we're going to go through the final 2 stages of the vetting process with other farmer panels. And the networking time for your hour break, again, we'll have snacks and stuff, but go back and talk to all of the companies behind you. We have all of the toys outside. We have drones, we have autonomous tractors riding around, we have Solix robot, we have sprayers, the AgZen sprayer is out there, so there is a lot to see. But we have been sitting and paying attention for an hour, and we might be a little tired. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but in my former life, I used to be involved in international level sports. And whenever we had a long bus ride and we had to jump right into activity, there was a little stretch that we did. We don't have to look ridiculous, but I want everyone to do it just to kind of wake up a little bit, all right? This works, I promise. So everyone put your hands up. I'm not going to beg, but please put your hands up, both of them. I only have one. stretch out and give me like jazz hands type thing, it actually gets the blood moving. And physiologically speaking, everything I said was completely made up. But you guys look great. Now that we're loosened up, let's go have some fun at the demo time.
Greg Allen, Hoosier Ag Today, here at the WHIN Ag Summit 2026 with David at Solinftech. David, give us an overview of what Solinftech does, their place in the ag industry.
Yeah, so we're an AgTech technology company. We started in just optimizing workflows on operations. So we were founded in Brazil, moved to the United States, and then we came out with this platform. So what the goal of this platform is to put more information into our database that we can optimize farm operations with. And so with this, it started off as just a scouting unit. So autonomous sprayer, it roams through the field, just making constant passes and trips across your acres, collecting things like planting population, crop height. We're doing weed maps across the field. And then while we were out there, we said, why don't we do something productive, right? So we added on a boom, a 40-foot boom across there. We're doing target application. So we've got a suite of 8 cameras across that 40-foot boom, and it'll look out in front of it and identify weeds, and we'll kick nozzles on and only spray the weeds.
So, I mean, this is something that you can set in a field and set it and forget it type of deal.
Yeah, so we've made a lot of progressions. I think the most exciting thing going into this last season was what we call discovery mode. So what we do is we take that grower's planting data, we load it into the robot, give it an idea of where we think it needs to be in the field, and it'll use its onboard cameras to navigate and make sure it's staying off the rows and build that master map that I'll use the rest of the season.
That is crazy. Now, how is it powered? I mean, certainly it would run out of battery at some point in time, and then you're kind of stuck if you're out in the middle of the field, huh?
Yeah, so we're solar powered. So across the top, we've got 4 solar panels. All that charges a lithium ion battery, and so it'll run off the battery. So even if we have a cloudy day, which we don't have today, we could still run throughout that day with just battery power.
That is insane. Completely autonomous. We're just kind of watching it in the background here. Now, it's kind of avoiding state. I mean, it's not kind of come up here and run us over, is it?
No, sir. It's got 3D cameras on board, and so it'll identify if it's coming up to an obstacle and pause the robot, send a notification. So you can run this by a remote controller. You can get it on the App Store. We have an app that you can control the robot, and then you can also go in through a web browser and control it. So we'll set up all the missions, we'll put on that obstacle avoidance, and then if it comes across anything, it'll pause, send a notification to that farmer and say, hey, something's going on, and he can get in, look at the live stream, and go from there.
So ideally, a producer would get 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, depending on how much acreage he has, and just send them out, and they would just do their job out in the field with really, I mean, I'm sure they send back data.
Correct. So they're constantly feeding that database that you can log into and view with information. But we're placing these on large acres or moving them around between fields occasionally, but so it's you place it in the field and you let it live there for the season. So once we have emergence until we get canopied out and we have to get out of the field before harvest.
So let's talk about, certainly you don't want it to spray applications when weather is bad. I mean, how does it determine that?
So we have integrated weather data into the platform, and so when you create the mission, you can set things like wind speed parameters. You can set things like the chance of rain. So let's say if there's a chance of 70% chance of rain in the future, it's going to pause an hour before. This robot doesn't have anywhere to be. It doesn't need to get to the kids' soccer practice, right? So it can just stop in the field where it's at, wait till the conditions are right, and get going again.
That is, oh, here it comes. I hope that 3D camera kicks in, because it's coming up on us. I don't want to be talking with you and all of a sudden a boom arm smacks me in the head. That'd be fun. So tell me what it's like to be like the coolest thing out here today. I mean, surely this probably pulls a lot of interest.
No, we're really excited. So we have a lot of customers through WHIN, and this event is great to showcase us to their other farmer network. But they've just been a great partner for us. So being out here, being able to showcase each advancement, WHIN has helped us make those advancements. They put us in front of farmers. They tell us what we need to adjust, and then we can make those adjustments going into the next year. So really excited to be here and see how we expand afterwards.
It is coming up. I know it's probably hard to do juxtaposition to how close this is, but it's coming up on us.
Yep, so we're moving 1 mile per hour right now. Going into next year, the next advancement is we're going to be running all these robots at 2 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
So twice as fast. Doesn't sound like a huge jump, but it will be twice as fast.
And it can spot problematic areas. Oh, it saw us. It's turning. I mean that is just going to miss us.
Yeah. And so it when it makes that master map, it's going to stay on that line. So throughout the season, we're running in corn and soybeans for the most part in Indiana.
High five.
In corn, we're doing 2 passes, and then that crop grows so fast we're out of the field. Soybeans, we'll see 4 to 5 passes throughout the season. And so when it makes that first master map, it's going to follow that exact path the entire season.
And on the fly, it can identify problematic areas and go, oh, I need to spray right here, psst, as it's going 2 miles an hour?
Right, live. It's reading that the camera's checking, so it'll actually do a series of checks. We can have it set up to 7 checks, so we're making sure what we're spraying is actually a weed we're wanting to spray. And so as it's going across there, that camera's looking in front of it. It'll confirm, verify 7 times, make sure it's a weed, and then kick on that nozzle.
And how much product can it hold in the tanks?
So right now we have 2 26-gallon tanks. They're plumbed together, so 52 gallons total on board. And so we're running whatever that farmer typically would run for his post-application. In the future, we've got algorithms that could identify grasses versus broadleaf. We could split out those tanks, have just grass killer in one, just broadleaf killer in the other, and then only spray the chemical that's actually going to do the job on the correct weed.
I don't even have a farm and I want one of these. That's pretty cool. David from SalinfTech. Make sure that if you're not here at the WHIN event, you check him out online at
salinftech.com.
Spell that.
SOLINFTEC.com.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Eric Pfeiffer here at the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. We thank you for joining us on today's live stream. We are live here at the Purdue Research Farm, the Beck Ag Center here in West Lafayette. And I'm here with Tracy from GRIP. We're showing off all these companies that are here, kind of, again, just showing off what they have going on. And Tracy, you've won awards, you've won all sorts of things here in this space, but still a growing company. Explain to us what GRIP is.
Yeah, so we basically walk onto a farm and help them do what we call operational tracking. So we started collecting maintenance information on the combines, the trucks, the tractors, and quickly farmers said, hey, we have trouble tracking everything that we own. It's not just the powered units, it's inventory, fuel, seed bins, pivots, you name it. And so what we essentially do is put a QR code on anything you want to track and make it dead simple for the operator to scan that, access history, log issues, fill out checklists, DOT information, all sorts of things. And then what's unique about us is every one of those items has a conversation thread with it. So that's a big thing on farms, using text message, WhatsApp to communicate. So if I leave the farm, that goes with me. And that tribal knowledge needs to stay on the farm so they can use it to train, learn, look up things, access information. And that's really what we're trying to solve, is more and more of these use cases. So one-stop shop to track anything that's important.
So basically, you take one of these bad boys, you put it up on one of your tractors.
Yep.
You scan that, and you can see kind of its entire history, is whatever you've put in there, right?
History, yep. You can also log issues. So a lot of times you go onto a farm, especially if there's bilingual folks, they've been admiring these issues for a long time. And so now they scan, take a picture in their native language, describe what's going on, put their phone away. That notification goes to somebody who can actually fix it, instead of like, hey, I've texted this to the boss so many times it gets lost in a sea of text and nothing happens. Now I'm frustrated.
And this can solve all sorts of things. And I love how you kind of have all these things laid out here. You talk about it's not just the big equipment. There are other things here that it can go toward.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things that we've done recently is inventory, parts inventory. So you don't necessarily think that's a big issue. It's such a frustration because every farm has a mezzanine with $10, $20, $40,000 worth of parts if you're the big guy, but they never know how much is in there. So they send one guy in over Christmas, try to log everything because they're going to buy a ton of stuff in January. And so we help them scan that UPC with their phone, track it in, track it out. At any point they can look up inventory and it's there for them.
You don't have the QR code small enough for that socket wrench, though, do you? I mean, everybody's losing that all the time.
We get that quite a bit. Like, can I tag my tools, because I've got a truck of tools that I put in the combine, and man, they go missing all the time.
I mean, it's that. Farmers have so many things going on.
Yep.
It's hard to keep track of everything. You've made it really quite easy.
Yeah. And they don't want to bring in 4 or 5 different apps. It's the same person using all that stuff. So they don't want to give them the mental gymnastics of deciding which app to use. So we'll continue to expand into more and more use cases, make it dead simple for the farmer, and really allow them to track whatever's important so they can sustain the operation.
I mentioned the Grip is an award-winning company at this point. The American Farm Bureau Federation has awarded you. Agronovis, I believe. I mean, a number of things. What does it mean for you to work with an organization like WHIN and come to events like this?
Yeah, I mean, our entire life cycle has been working with the front line of ag. So that's farmers in the field, getting our hands dirty, grease on the knuckles. And WHIN is just another opportunity to provide that access to the farm to learn one more of these use cases to make the platform that much more valuable.
We're here at the WHIN Ag Summit 2026. And Greg, I know you've got another exhibitor here you want to chat with.
Standing here with Charles from BioScout. Charles, tell us all about BioScout. What do you guys do?
Look, for us, BioScout's all about minimizing the application of agrochemicals on farm, better understanding what target spores we're aiming for disease-wise, and then therefore really focusing on that application rate and getting that timing, which is critical. If you apply it at the right time, you get better disease protection and therefore better management of disease principles in general.
I'm detecting a little bit of an accent from you. Are you from Michigan by any chance?
No. Dallas maybe? No, I'm from Sydney. Head office is in New South Wales in Australia. We are an Australian company that started about 2018-19. We've now launched globally, about 280 of our units globally across broadacre sectors, specialty row cropping indoors in the Netherlands. So we've been scaling quite rapidly now.
What is the benefit for farmers by using your products?
I think the biggest benefit is to understand the disease triangle. Me as a farmer myself, we rely on the 2 basic principles of that triangle, which is the crop and the environment. And we look at those 2 and say, well, there's rain coming, I better apply agrochemical to protect my crop against, let's say, sclerotinia in canola, or you're looking at powdery mildews or downy mildews in broadacre crops. But without seeing the disease, a lot of that spray application is done on gut feeling. And what we are trying to do is make that gut feeling more solid with the information we give you on pathogens. Because by taking weather conditions, crop stage, and pathogens, you can complete that triangle and get a better understanding of the risk of infection. Because otherwise, it's like you going home tonight and taking a paracetamol or a headache tablet or ibuprofen for a headache you're going to have on Monday. It doesn't work that way. But yet we apply chemicals before we see a disease outbreak with the assumption that there is disease coming. How do you know? It's impossible to know. So we take the guesswork out of farming.
So you're throwing bad money after good.
Correct.
Because you're not pinpointing the issues.
Correct. And if you look at the current environment within agriculture, we all know what input costs are. Like, it's the same for us in Australia as what it is for you guys in the US. There's a lot of input pressure on costs. Prices of what you get for your commodities are coming down, but yet prices for all your input costs are going up. So for us to better manage that chemical input, it's not just the reduction on chemical usage, but it's a reduction on soil compaction, it's a reduction on carbon emissions, it's a reduction on fuel usage. All these things you can add up by just better understanding what spores are around and what disease are going to attack your crop.
So how is the data collected?
So the data is collected through our onboard system, and we take air samples on a daily basis every hour, and we take basically an air sample that goes and sticks on a sticky film within the unit. Our microscopy camera can go down to 1 micron and magnifies it by 400 times, and all that data is then analyzed with AI. We run that data through our data set, and by the morning when the farmer gets back into work, it's all on his dashboard on his computer, tells him what the spore loads are. If there's a certain disease that he's detected that he wants to know exactly what's going on, there's a WhatsApp notification that comes in, but all the data is digital. And at the moment now, we are the largest microscopic data set in the world. So the data that we've got can always be backdated, backscanned, back-educated. We could look at different morphology changes within spores. We could see clear resistance happening on certain chemical groups, so we can act much faster rather than just keep throwing good money at bad things, as you said.
Charles, how can someone learn more about BioScout?
BioScout's website, bioscout.com.au. We have got some of our units deployed currently around the US. Part of the trip for me now is to catch up with current customers and new customers. But yeah, on the website, you can find all my contact details. We can take them through how we work. There's a lot of videos online. You can see how it works. There's some stuff here behind me that I can take you through as well. But fundamentally is to just help farmers be better.
Charles, thanks for speaking with me today.
No, well, you're more than welcome.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Hey, we're back here at the 2026 WHIN Summit, Ag Summit, and I'm with Paul here with Soil Optics. And Paul, talk to me. What is Soil Optics for those who are hearing about this for the first time?
Well, Eric, our technology is a high-resolution topsoil mapping technology. So what that means for a grower is being able to pull back the curtain of, let's say, the mystery of, let's say, their fields. Their field is like their factory, and we're trying to be able to reveal the pockets of opportunity where they can save on inputs like fertilizer and where they should add some. And probably what's in their mind is, well, how big is the area and how much? And our information acts as a catalyst to be able to help get there.
So that's got to be pretty important, especially in times like now when input costs have gone so high for farmers, especially you mentioned things like fertilizer. If we can cut back on those things, I mean, that's a big thing, but you and I both know that the soil, it needs those things if these crops are going to grow. So this is a great starting point to figure out where do we need to go, right?
Right. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. And we have a bias, obviously, but yet we're trying to be able to help with, let's say, that revealing that mystery of, let's say, the soil. And yeah, we know, obviously, with where input prices are at, there's definitely an economic aspect. It's not just from the economic strategy on the input side, but it's also trying to get that field in maybe a homogeneous condition, maybe utilizing, let's say, variable rate technology to be able to help make that crop perform as best as what it possibly can.
We've been listening in here, Paul, to what's been going on stage with WHIN, and we know that all these companies are in all different stages of development. Where is Soil Optics? Where are you at in this process, and how readily available are you? I mean, you're out there, right? Folks can take advantage of this right now.
Yes, we've had the fortunate opportunity to be out commercially available for 12 years. Maybe not the fastest growing company, but yet we've been probably strong and steady. We have a customer network in 30 countries, and say we're home bases in Canada, but we have, let's say, all the major markets plugs in Canada, but yet we have some presence here in the U.S. But we'd love to be able to fill some more holes here. So
I would imagine that over the course of that 12 years, the technology advances that we've had have helped make this even more of a reality.
Absolutely. I would say that, like, as far as for growing that crop, nothing really has changed. I think overall, what we're trying to be able to do is raise the bar on how field soil measurement has been conducted. And we're utilizing an approach of maybe this foreign signal that we as humans can't taste, smell, or feel, but we're using, let's say, a technology of, let's say, the acting like a telephone to the soil and listening to it to be able to use that as a foundation, as a building block to be able to help springboard into, let's say, that potential for the grower.
You know, Paul, I've heard of some people actually tasting the soil to figure out what's in it. I don't want to do that. So I'd much rather use your stuff. So yeah, that's the way to go. Where should folks go if they want to learn more information?
Yeah, we're at soiloptics.com. Yeah, very nice and simple. It's
Hey everyone,
soil,
just a
and
quick
then
reminder that
OPTIS
we have a lot of stuff
is,
to see
it's a great place to
outside.
be
The
able to find
drones are flying, the robots are moving, the tractors are driving with nobody sitting.
Soiloptics.com. That's where you want to go to learn more. Paul, thank you so much. And, you know, my friend Daniel over here, he doesn't know it quite yet, but we're going to go over and we're going to bug him. Molly, my camera woman today, she's going to follow us over here. Daniel's with Autonomous Pivot. We're live, man. All right, so no cursing right now, okay? Okay. You wouldn't do that anyway, too. You wouldn't do that. Daniel, tell me about Autonomous Pivot, what it's all about.
So what we've got is an integrated system of sensors and cameras that convert simple standard center pivot irrigation systems to real-time data devices in the field. So they're out there 365 days a year, and yet they don't provide any sort of feedback about the crop, what's going on in the soil underneath it. So with our system, you're able to change that. And you're able to leverage your pivot as more than just a means to irrigate your field. Now it's a permanent agronomic agent for you, working even if it's not watering. So,
especially in a year like this, where, you know, maybe we didn't need a whole lot of water for certain times of the year, this makes it useful because these things are expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got several different configurations of our system to meet different price points and needs. So everything here from this most standard version, just rain and pressure, making sure that the pivot's operating, that you're getting feedback on rain, when do I need to run it. And then we've got a premium version that includes a ground penetrating radar that gives us mobile, non-invasive soil moisture feedback from all around the field. And then also excited to, we're actually working with Purdue University this year, light nitrogen solution. So making it's great at putting out water. It's great at putting out chemical or fertilizer if it's set up for that. But it doesn't tell you about what's going on in the field. And with Autonomous Pivot, it becomes its own agronomic agent.
You were telling me earlier, you've been around for a little while, had a lot of success, West Mississippi, but now and we're going to see what this brings here to the Corn Belt, right?
Yeah. So the company's based in Wichita, Kansas. We're in our 6th year commercial deployment, and we've had over 1,000 units deployed this year across the Western Corn Belt, from Texas up to Nebraska, the Great Lakes region, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Illinois, Pacific Northwest, Canada, and we've done the school of hard knocks. We've figured out what works, what doesn't, how we make it better. Our CEO says it's not that we don't make mistakes, it's that we don't repeat them year after year. So learning on how we can improve the system and make it better. And so since we've got a solid base in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, this year we'll be deploying in Indiana and Michigan as well. So excited for those new markets.
Hey, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, right?
Yeah, that's what is it? Failure is just a success that wasn't given enough time.
There you go. There you go. Daniel, if folks want to learn more information about Autonomous Pivot, where should they go?
Yeah, so our website's autonomouspivot.com. That'll have all our information there. And you can check us out on socials as well if you search Autonomous Pivot.
You know, I think Ross and friends could have used an autonomous. Sorry, I had to go there, Pivot,
we've thought about doing the eye-catching PR, just sending out a postcard with Ross yelling pivot and then all our QR and info are on the back, but we'll see. Who knows? That's not a bad idea.
Well, I'm going to take a cut of that. Hey, we're here at the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. What has it meant to you to work with the folks here at WHIN? Obviously, it's a pretty new relationship, getting in front of farmers at events like today.
Yeah, I was surprised when I drove in last night. There are pivots here in Indiana. I think we were excited with WHIN's growth into Canada, where we already have an existing footprint. But even just now at the lunch break, had a grower come up with 4 pivots that said he's tried other solutions. maybe getting tired of putting in his probe and pulling it and putting it in every year, and is going to look at taking a look at our permanent solution for next season. So really excited to work with Hoosiers. I'm originally from Kentucky, so I feel connected.
Never mind. We're
That was a dangerous shot there.
Yeah,
Let that be known.
That's good.
I'll stay from Kansas if that's safer. But no, we're excited to take what we've tried and proven with growers across the West and bring it here to Indiana. Weather's getting more volatile and variable. Pivots provide a reliable way to make sure that you have a crop at the end of the season if traditional rains don't hold. It's a growing market continually, and so we want to take all the advancement that we've been able to develop out west and make sure that it's available for growers here in the great state of Indiana.
AutonomousPivot.com. That's where folks need to go, right, Daniel?
Yes, sir. It's AUPO.com.
Spelling bee champion, too, apparently. Daniel, thanks for here. We're 26 WHIN Ag Summit, and we'll have more coming up. Greg, who do you have now?
Standing here with Chris from Weed It. Chris, tell us all about Weed It and what you do.
Well, Weed It is a chlorophyll detection system that we go on any type of sprayer, pull type, self-propelled. We are colorblind, so we can work with any manufacturer. We can retrofit it, we can put on a new boom so that your capital investment goes further. But what we do is we have this sensor here and we put it across every 40 inches on your sprayer. And this has 4 10-inch channels within it, and it's scanning the soil looking for any plant life that has active chlorophyll in it. When it detects it, it sends a signal back to our solenoid here, which is a 50 hertz solenoid, meaning that this opens and closes 50 times a second. So,
wow.
The number one question we get all the time is, how fast can I go though, right? I mean, spraying is a very tight window and weather conditions are always, challenging. So for us, that was a big component, right? Is make sure that we're not slowing down or being the bottleneck. So we can spray at the normal speeds and hit weeds, about the size of my fingernail at 12.5 miles an hour, up to 14.5.
Up to 40. Now, is that depending on like wind conditions?
No, so we're a full PWM, so pulse width modulation. So we can set the pressure of every nozzle. Now, of course, you don't want to be spraying when it's too windy, but this gives you a little bit more freedom because our sensors and solenoids our nozzles are every 10 inches. Therefore, we have more precision. So we're not turning on as many sensors, solenoids, to affect the same area, right? So we don't have to turn on more than two channels if that weed lies in one. Right, so we're really saving. In Canada, we had 48,000 acres covered with our new system here, and because of our technology, less than 31,000 acres were sprayed. 31,000 acres were not sprayed. So, we saved the customers on average at $8 an acre, roughly $253,000 on pre-seed. But more importantly, we're always talking about sustainability. Right? We did not haul 318,000 gallons of water because of our system, right? Customers are spending a lot of time and money stopping for fills, right? We've got customers that used to do 210 acres a tank. They're now getting 1,000 acres out of a tank.
Wow. That's pretty incredible stuff. So this can literally replace other nozzles from like old sprayers?
Yes. So, and that's the beautiful part of it, right? There are smaller farms that don't have the new PWM technology. So we don't go through the isobus, we go around the isobus because other companies are locking us out. So rather than sectional control, our customers now have nozzle by nozzle control. So, on a 120-foot sprayer, we have 36 of these sensors. So you can shut off every one or every other solenoid if you choose, right? So yeah, really, really good advantages. We've been doing this since 1999. We are manufactured in the Netherlands and we work all over the world. We do a lot of farms in Australia, here in the US, Canada, Bulgaria. We just put a machine recently, so Brazil. And our owner is very passionate about, helping farmers. He saw a need and he's filling that solution now.
So you clearly the alternative is buy a brand spanking new sprayer and spend a bazillion dollars. What is the cost differential on average?
Yeah, so depending on the size of the system and, if you do a retrofit or, a total boom exchange, can be, around a third of the cost of a full sprayer.
Wow.
And about 7,000 acre farms will pay it off in less than 2 years on just the herbicide side of it. So what you can see on here, over here, you'll see the gray matter is where our sprayer is covered. The blue dots on there are our weeds. So you can see this is our spot spray mode. This would be your conventional spraying. So see the difference there on how every particle of dirt is getting chemical applied on it, right? We know that the less chemical we put on, right? A, it costs our farmers money. They don't want to spend money unnecessarily. But B, because we're adding more salts to the soil, we're potentially causing yield drags, right? So this is another component that not only helps in pre-seed, post-harvest, but fungicide, desiccation, and lots of other applications.
Chris from Weed It, thanks for spending some time with me today. This is quite extraordinary what you guys are doing.
Thanks a lot, Greg. I appreciate it.
You haven't shut off because there's too much going on. So that's what the 3-1. But how close is it? If there was a if there was like a giant if there was a giant storm and it blew a tree limb 50 yards out in the field, how close would it get? Oh, that's way out there. I mean, it'll give you a about the same time. Yeah.
Hey, Eric Pfeiffer here with the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. And what you're seeing here going on is a lot of autonomous equipment. That's from a company called Sabanto. And then if we look right over this way, you can see the Solix from Solinftech that Greg was telling you about earlier. I think you saw that coming right at him a little while ago. So we've got a lot of things just running around here without any controls and doing just fine. And now we've got a drone going here as well. We're going to talk with the drone operator here in just a moment.
That's showing it's
Perfect. You want to chat here real quick? We can. Remind me of your name. I've got our
Jake.
Jake.
Sure.
That's right. We're here. I just changed locations here quickly. I'm running around over here because we've got all this autonomous equipment going on. And Jake here is with Scarecrow Technologies. And while it looks like he's at the controls, man, all you had to do was press a button there to get this drone that's going behind us, right?
Yes, that's correct. We are running the drone autonomously right now. We set the route for where it needs to go, and it is autonomously going back and forth. It is currently doing 33 miles per hour, 14 feet in the air, and it has a route that is flying. It's flying RTK, so it knows exactly where it is within 2 centimeters right now.
That's pretty impressive. And I know soybean Sean Castile here at Purdue probably loves just watering his soybean. I mean, that's fantastic. And you are putting water down right now, but But the application remains, you could put all sorts of stuff in here to make sure that it's applicable to your crops.
Correct. We could put anything down as long as it's labeled for aerial application. So we have put down herbicide, we can put down fungicides, nutrients, insecticides, really whatever a farmer wants. And as long as it's aerial labeled, we can apply it.
This drone technology over the past several years has really kind of taken off here, Jake. From
Sorry, I keep watching.
No, you're fine. You're good. No, we got to make sure we're good. We can turn around. We can watch the drone too. I want to see what it does. This drone thing has really taken off. It kind of went from some farmers had a drone in their barn because it was the cool thing to have, and then it went to a pretty practical tool to kind of scout a little bit. But it's moved well beyond that, right?
Yeah, so drones are growing a lot. I mean, you can find many articles back to 2015 and earlier, but some of it is that the capabilities of drones have increased a lot over the last 5 years. You know, only 5 years ago, you could get drones carrying, say, 2.5 gallons of chemical. This drone we're watching is carrying 15 gallons every time I fill it up, and the drone out front can carry 22 gallons. There's some new ones out there that are carrying 40 gallons. So the capabilities of these is really skyrocketing.
And the ability to just do one area of the field, because you and I know, I mean, you can get rain in just one part of the field now as opposed to the other. Like every part of the field needs something a little bit different. Why take an entire pass when you can just take something like your drone here and put it in the one spot?
Sure, yeah, you can do a lot of precision work. A good example. Sorry, I'm just going to watch it because it's done with its.
Yeah, we got to make sure it lands here. Let's get this. Molly, my camera woman's going to get it.
On RTK, and so the reason why that matters is because it's on RTK, it'll land autonomously and correctly. And so I'm just watching it because as the remote pilot, that's my job, is to make sure it's right. It obviously did the job, it landed correctly, right on a pin time. So, but yeah, to your point, there's a lot of precision that you can get out of that. I did some fields this season where there were small fields that were tucked behind a power line. They had trees all the way around it. I mean, getting a ground rig into that spot in the first place would have been really a challenge. And I ended up having to park at a road and fly the drone up and over a power line and over the top of some trees, drop into the field, and then go around, and it worked out.
And you do need to have the appropriate licensure certifications to be able to do this whole drone thing as well. You can't just pick one up and start going, right?
Correct. And so there's a lot of outfits that'll help you. We'd be glad to help anybody with that as well. But you need a Part 137, which has got to license the drone to be able to do agricultural spraying of poisons, economic poisons. You need your Part 107 licensing, which is pilot licensing. You need to have your drone have an N number. There's a variety of exemptions that you need to get. So there's really a lot to it. And that's just licensure. The other thing is actually running these is its own supply chain in and of itself. You'll notice the drone is taken off from that trailer. There's a lot that goes into having a trailer that can carry the water that you need to be able to apply all of that in the day. You can hear a generator running that's keeping power going and charging up the batteries. Yeah, keep the controls and everything charged throughout the day. We've got a cooler up top so we can keep some cold water or pop in the cooler for the people that are running it. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's like any other operation. It's a whole thing. But, there's a lot that can come out of it that's benefit too.
Jake, if folks want to learn more about Scarecrow Technologies, where should they go?
Website, www.scarecrowtechnologies.com is a great spot to go, and our phone numbers and everything else are right on there. Look us up. Be happy to help.
ScarecrowTechnology.com. That's the place to go. We're here at the 6th WHIN Ag Summit.
Greg Allen here with Phil.
Oh, yep. Are we live? Hold on. Say hi. Wave at me. Yep, we're live. Okay, hi. I'm with Hannah, Ag Infotech. Hannah, there's a lot of autonomous things out here that we're seeing. Some really cool things. I talked with the big, sprayer drone. Tell me what we're standing in front of here that's John Deere.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Hannah Davis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hannah Davis, everybody.
With Ag Infotech, and we are here for Sabanto Autonomous Technology. And it is a retrofit kit for a smaller frame series tractor. So this series coming out with we have 6E as well, 6M, and then we are going to be going out and getting onto the 6R series, a little bit more in the ag market. We have a lot of growers who have adapted this. They're starting it up right now.
Oh, wow.
Perfect timing. And
Wait, did he do that from his phone?
he did that from his phone.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
So he's got this field mapped out right here, and it is pretending that it's mowing right now. So we've got a preset pattern for it,
Okay.
and it will mow the field. We have boundaries. It'll stop with obstacles. And we have growers who are using it to mow sod. They are planting cover crops. They are planting fields in the spring. It's a really cool technology to save a ton on your labor.
What's your name, man?
Travis.
Travis. So Hannah just told me that you started this thing with your phone.
I did, yeah.
Can you actually show us the technology with that, or is that like top secret? Or
Oh no, it's not top secret. At all.
okay, well let's. Well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all web based, so you can run it on your tablet, your phone, your computer. And as you can see here, I told it you can't go around this area or outside of it, and I told it to go along this way. So I created the mission. I started the engine from the app, and now I'm going to hit play.
Oh, and there we go. There it goes. That is amazing. Now, does this also have like avoidance technology where if somebody like a dog or a deer or a person happen to run in front of it, is it going to stop?
Yeah, it's actually got 3 stages of obstacle detection. So it's got an infrared sensor up front. It's got a radar up top there. And then the front camera has AI detection to like detect humans or limbs or stuff like that. So it's got 3 tiers of obstacle detection. It's very, very safe.
Now, will this tech work on any tractor? Like, so let's say I've got an old antique IH tractor.
In concept, yes.
Okay.
In reality, no.
Okay.
So there's only a certain amount of platform kits they have today, but in theory, it could go on almost any tractor.
Hannah, what is the benefit to farmers for tech like this?
Time management. You don't have to sit there. You can manage other operations on the farm. You don't have to pay somebody to be there. A lot of your time.
So so this is obviously relatively new. How many years has this tech been? So what?
So just saw him.
Oh yeah, just saw him. It stopped. And he's thankful for that. Yep. He doesn't even know. He's completely unaware. You could have been run over, man.
Yep.
Thank God for this tech from Ag Infotech.
Sabanto, yeah. We're representing Sabanto. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Where can people find out more information about this tech?
So Sabanto has a website, sabantoag.com. We are the regional dealer for Sabanto, aginfotech.com. That's where you can find this. We do this and many other technology offerings.
Fantastic. So I have no idea if Eric has got somebody else to talk to or not, but we're going to feed it to Eric, and if he's got somebody, great. And if not, we got something that we pre-recorded a little earlier here at the Ag Expo from WHIN. We're excited to be here.
Hey, we're here, 2026 WHIN Ag Summit. We're back inside where the air conditioning is moving. Greg's out there in his sport coat. I don't know what he's thinking. My goodness, it's warm out there, Blake. It's warm. My goodness. Blake here is with Intellinair, and Intellinair's been around for a little while. You guys do some pretty neat stuff. Tell us about Intellinair.
Yeah, so we are essentially flying fields throughout the crop season, and we're taking machine learned algorithms, layering that on top of our imagery, and then we collect data via climate or John Deere ops, and we essentially take all that data, mix it together, find inefficiencies on farming operations, and help farmers fix that to help increase yield, increase the bottom line, and help with longevity of farming operations.
So basically what you're doing is you're taking all of this data that farmers have and have no idea what to do with, and you're putting it into something that makes sense.
Essentially, yeah, it's data that's been collected for 5-10 years in some situations that has been sitting on a thumb drive, and we're helping make sense of that data and helping it use that data to impact farming operations.
What types of data, again, farmers can grab, some of the easy stuff. What types of data are you able to pull and have it kind of connect with the other things you're doing, the images from the air, to pull these things together?
Yeah, so a real simple one is just planting speed. So we track the speed at which a tractor is planting throughout the field, and there's a correlation between the speed and the yield. And there are indicators in the imagery, bumping patterns throughout the field. It looks like a railroad, in all honesty, but that pattern throughout the field will correlate with the speed. And if you can save a farmer, 2 to 3 bushels an acre by increasing or decreasing their speed by a mile an hour, that's a pretty easy, impactful change. I think can be, extrapolated across plenty of farms.
I didn't know that. That's pretty darn interesting. Blake, as far as Intellineer is concerned, based here in Indiana?
Yes, based on the north side of Indianapolis.
So Indiana company, again, you guys have been around for a little while now, making things. We've heard about where the different companies are in this phase. You guys are a little ways along now, right?
Yeah, we sure are. We've been around for about 9-10 years at this point. So, yeah,
and making some progress. A lot of farmers, or we were just hearing from a farmer here he ran out of the shot. He said, "I've been on TV enough," but he seemed to be really enjoying it. What type of farmer feedback are you getting?
A lot. I mean, from just a product standpoint, that's what we make our improvements on is, the feedback that we get from farmers. They want to see a return on the investment that they're making in terms of technology. And if we can prove out that return, then we've got a place on their farm.
When it comes to working with the folks here at the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network, WHIN, what are some of the advantages for a company like yours? I mean, obviously, you guys have a bit of a national scale at this point. I know you guys are out there, but being able to get this feedback from farmers through WHIN, what has that been like?
I think it's fantastic in the regard of trust and outreach. So obviously they have a pretty rigorous vetting schedule that they work through in terms of their technology, but they also have a wide network throughout Indiana and the rest of the Midwest and Canada that they're able to connect technologies with growers and help get that out on the out on the farms.
We're taking a lot of this technology out to the farm here, into the air, down to the farm, all sorts of different places. Blake, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll have more coming up from the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit.
From WHIN, and Phil, you're actually representing two different offerings that WHIN is completely, fully tied to. Explain, we'll just take the broadband at first.
Yeah, sure. People know WHIN as a technology adoption organization, and we do technology support work for enabling, let's say, adjacencies to help the technologies be adopted. One of those in rural Indiana is broadband. So broadband isn't necessarily available to all the rural addresses in Indiana. It's called the digital divide. So for 7 to 8 years, WHIN has been building a wireless network. It's called Next Gen Fixed Wireless Access. And we provide up to 400 megabit per second to a lot of rural corn stalks in the area where broadband is needed.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's been a big project for us. The digital divide, it's called, is being solved. So you can imagine a day where there will be optical fiber to every address and there will be no divide. For the moment, we're filling the gap with some high-speed broadband in rural addresses.
Is there like bulky equipment or anything like that needs to be placed on the top of the barn, or I mean?
It's very similar to other broadband services. So you will have, in our case, a receiver that would be outside. It could be on the barn, it could be on a pole, it could be on the house, and they aim it at the general direction of the nearest tower, and at 10 miles away, it can give you 400 megabit per second reliably. It's a very solid network.
And what about affordability compared to some of the other ones out there?
Yeah, so that's the unique nature of WHIN. So we are what's called a neutral host. So we built the towers and the infrastructure to provide the service, but consumers don't actually buy from us. So they will buy from a local company that's a neighbor. It's somebody that they know and trust, and they set the prices. It's very competitive. I know in rural Indiana, a lot of homes, 50 megabit per second is sufficient, and that could be less than $50 a month. Wow. 400 megabit per second is going to be a more competitive rate, but the rate varies according to the local provider.
Now let's talk about this CO2 sensor here. In fact, we'll have
Sure,
a visual
we
aid.
do. We got a toy to show. So WHIN works in agriculture and manufacturing as the two primary sectors that we service. This is borrowed from manufacturing. So in manufacturing, we do a lot of IoT, it's called Internet of Things. We put sensors on equipment in manufacturing to help reduce the costs or eliminate unscheduled breakdowns that are very costly and disruptive. Ultimately, we improve the efficiency of manufacturers. One of the technologies we've come to know very well is called LoRaWAN, Long Range Wide Area Network. It's a long wavelength, 900 megahertz, and it has a really good propagation capability, very low energy consumption. It's great for things like sensors like this, right? So this is a CO2 sensor. It's designed to sit in the headspace of a grain silo. So this is a 250-pound magnet.
Ooh.
You just put it up against the structure of the grain silo. We've got a tether just to be safe, right? We tether this to some structure in case this magnet, you get more than a 250-pound load to pull it down.
Sure.
And it sits in the headspace and it detects biological activity in the grains. So whether it's corn or soybean, when there is biological activity that's going to impact the quality of the commodity, one of the first tells is carbon dioxide. So it's an organism.
It's the canary in the coal mine.
You got it.
Yeah.
And so as soon as it starts to do its nefarious work, impacting the quality of the commodity, this sensor picks it up right away. And so we work with farmers to figure out what sort of threshold they need to be watching for, and it gives them an early indication that they need to intervene and turn on the fans or move grain or do something to preserve the revenue when they go to sell that commodity.
So what does the sensor feed to? Is it an alarm system or a data collection device?
That's a good question. So there's a gateway. The gateway, it needs just 110, 120 volt outlet. It reports to the wireless network, so AT&T, Verizon. So if there's even a little bit of coverage, it'll connect to that. This guy, it's got a battery. The battery will last up to 10 years.
Wow.
Such low power consumption.
Sure.
And on a schedule, 15 minutes, half hour, an hour, it'll report the CO2 that it sees, and it'll catch a deviation in CO2 very early.
And depending on what, you get an alert on your phone or,
You got it.
Wow.
You can get a text, you can get a phone call if you want, an email, but you can set those alerts, who you want to receive them, and it's let's say an insurance policy for $750 a year per bin. You can have $1 million of commodity in that bin.
That's right.
That's being protected by a few $100s of investment.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I am so engaged on every piece of equipment that is represented here today at this conference, and I tell you what, every person I talk to is like, and I'm sure that necessity is the mother of invention. But how do you come up with these ideas?
Yes, yeah. It's a lot of fun. So I'm an innovator by background. My background's in manufacturing, but when I come to this conference, some of the ideas are they're not ones that you would necessarily think of.
Right.
But once they're explained and you get it, it's such high value, high impact. And,
Sure.
and a technology conference like this, where the innovation's presented, is where farmers find out about it.
Yeah.
They trial it, and then they share it with their neighbors, and then our region benefits for having had that technology adopted.
Phil, great work. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
2026 WHIN Ag Summit. Eric Pfeiffer here from Hoosier Ag Today. And if you're thinking, boy, some of this technology sounds really cool, I probably should have tuned in at the beginning of this. Yeah, you probably should have. The good news is there will be the archive of the video. Go back, check it out on our Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel, at Hoosier Ag Today on Facebook, at Hoosier Ag Today, and the number 1 on YouTube, because again, for some reason, someone else already has that Hoosier Ag Today, and I'm going to find them. I will find them, but check it out, the archived version. I'm here with Jack from Sentinel Ag, and Jack, tell us all about Sentinel Ag.
Okay, it's going to be a lot to unpack here at the beginning. So we were initially founded in 2022, based out of university at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. We were initially founded with the sole mission to reduce nitrate contamination into our groundwater. In Nebraska, we have a lot of sandy soils, a lot of nitrate leaching occurs, and we have a problem with high nitrates in our groundwater. So this is actually research that's been around for a couple of decades now, with the idea of having high and low check strips of nitrogen out in the field to calibrate and sense how is the crop performing in a nitrogen rich scenario and how is it performing in a low nitrogen scenario. But they used to do it with little like chlorophyll handheld meters. And so once the technology and satellite imagery became kind of viable here somewhat recently, our founder, Jackson Stansel, developed the technology to be able to, first do it with drone imagery and then satellite imagery, and bring it commercially viable once he graduated from his master's program. A little bit about, I guess, kind of how this works. So we were originally founded and started on fertigated fields in Nebraska. Our old name is Sentinel Fertigation, if you maybe heard of that. We rebranded about a year or two ago here now to Sentinel Ag as we started to move to dryland fields and then also now into soil moisture management. So how our imagery is kind of calibrated to detecting solely nitrogen stress is we have our growers go out and apply these high and low check strips out in the field. So a low nitrogen plot, which we call the canary, then a high nitrogen plot, which we call the reference. So, for example, in corn, the low nitrogen plot, the canary, is 30 units of nitrogen below the rest of the rate of the field. And what that does is gives us a week look ahead period, because during peak uptake period, corn will use about 30 units of nitrogen in 1 week. So this gives us a week look ahead to be able to proactively apply our nitrogen before it becomes a yield limiting factor. That high nitrogen strip, the reference strip, is used to actually tell us, okay, is this nitrogen stress that we're seeing, and not outside noise from herbicide damage, drought, things like that. So yeah, we're basically able to analyze, okay, how is the crop performing in a high nitrogen scenario compared to a low nitrogen scenario? If we can see that the crop is performing better where nitrogen is rich, then we will trigger to apply a recommendation to apply more nitrogen. If we can't see difference between the two nitrogen rates, then we're not going to trigger to apply any nitrogen. So on a near daily basis, we're pulling in satellite imagery. It's largely dependent upon cloud cover. So we're usually able to get about 3-4 images a week. We say that this is near daily satellite imagery to give you a sufficiency index on your field. So yeah.
And nitrogen is just one of these issues that farmers have been dealing with. You know, what's the right amount? For years, they've been trying to figure this out.
Yeah. It's kind of been the old ways of, well, we're just going to apply more than we know than we'll need so that we know that we won't run out and compromise yield potential. But we're getting to the point now where not only do we need to be good stewards of the land from not over applying our nitrogen, but it's also becoming really expensive to be putting on that much nitrogen. We're seeing record high nitrogen prices right now, just with a lot of things going on in the world. So not only do we need to be actively managing our nitrogen for a cost savings, but also for environmental stewardship. And also we have started to see some research to where too much nitrogen can actually hurt yield. So we're starting to see a little bit of a yield bump in our data set compared to growers management with our program versus what they historically did before. There's a couple reasons this may be. We have a technical agronomist on hand that That's kind of his job, as he looks at that largely. We saw it last year. Disease was a really big presence. We've started to see that disease, the corn might be more susceptible to disease when it has a large amount of nitrogen compared to when it has the right amount.
If folks want to learn more about Sentinel Ag, where should they go?
Our website is sentinelag.tech. So that's SENTINELAG.tech. .com was already taken, so we're sentinelag.tech.
There you go. Thank you very much, Jack. Really appreciate it. Hey, we've got a lot more coming here from the WHIN Ag Summit. See, you had me saying tech.
Sorry.
From the WHIN Ag Summit, let's head over now to Greg Allen. Greg.
Thank you, Eric. And I tell you what, it's really bizarre because he's right there. He's right there. There's Eric. But you can't see him. He's right there. I tell you, he's right there. Believe it or not. So, yeah, I'm here with Trevor with AgTech, and you were explaining to me a little bit about what AgTech does. But I feel like I don't know so tell me right now AgTech does. I don't know that I could eloquently put it, so I'm going to default. So what is it?
Absolutely. So AgTech is the first and only technology that will tell you and your operator in live time the percent coverage you're getting on your sprays, whether it be herbicide, pesticide, fungicide, whatever it may be. We retrofit onto any sprayer. And the idea is that if right now you're spraying 100 droplets, and of those 100 droplets, 20 of them get on the roof, we will be able to help you optimize and get it so when you spray 100 droplets, 40 of them are getting on. From there, the idea is that if your coverage is doubled, you can then reduce down to only spraying 50 droplets while getting those initial 20 that you know works on the week. And reduce your rate, cut volume, and really get the best spray possible. And the proof's in the pudding. The Bros, who are a local farm here, for example, with our system this year, they saved 104,000 gallons over the course of the season while being able to spray 21 more acres per hour.
My goodness. So tell me, how is this data collected?
Yeah, so we are a 2-camera system. You have one before the boom and one after the boom. And basically how it works is it's a fancy before and after photo, kind of like a spot the difference that you'd play in the newspaper. And it accounts for any dew, whatever may be on that leaf already, and then goes through our machine learning algorithm to tell you the exact percent coverage on each of those leaves.
Does AI play a part in any of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So those before and after photos are analyzed by our own machine learning algorithm that has been trained over 2.2 million acres and counting to spot coverage on a leaf and be able to then tell the operator what they need to do based on the current coverage.
So this is really interesting. How long has the company AgZen been in business?
Yeah, so we have been in business for about 4 years now, 2 commercially on the market. Our first year we had around 25 units on the market. This year we had 50, and we're looking to have 200 for next year. So big growth coming.
So the interesting part that I was just talking about is since this is your 4th year, you were doing this well before the integration of AI, correct? So how has that changed the way that you do business?
Totally. So we started with GoPros on pull behind systems and really manually going through the data and trying to figure it out. And with the development of these models that can just take in so much data and really accurately give you results, it has been huge in implementing the system and making sure that that live data is 100% accurate.
What kind of benefits have you seen to farmers, testimonials maybe, where you've gone to their production operations and have done this?
Absolutely. So just last week we had an event at Kelly Engineering just right down the road here. And many of our farmers were saying that this is like precision planting for spraying. Once you start using it, you really can't go back. And
all of our farmers save between 30 and 50% on the amount of chemical they're reducing if they feel comfortable rate cutting. Otherwise, drastic increases in coverage. We're talking 5, 10, 15 times better coverage. And when you're getting that much more chemical on the plant, you're making sure that your weeds are not going to be there, and you're making sure that you don't have to respray and go through all of that hassle.
Those are impressive numbers, Trevor. Very impressive. So how can people find out more information about AgZen?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say first and foremost, go check out our website, agzen.com, agzen.com. On there, you'll find FAQs. We have case studies across the United States, Canada, and Australia. So you can see how our farmers across the world are utilizing us and how they have increased their coverage and cut rate. And you can even order directly from our website.
Zach, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's great talking to you.
I tell you what, this is such a cool event, and I just wanted to give you a look around at what's happening here in this space. Look, there's Eric Pfeiffer. Look, here is one of the drones. I think this is one of the drones that we were seeing out in the field. Is that correct? Hey, Eric.
Hi, Greg. Fancy seeing you here. Yeah. Hey, Greg, I would love it if you would bring this camera on over this way.
Oh, did you find somebody?
I found someone. We've got someone else we got to talk to. We're going to get back to some of the programming here very soon at the WHIN Ag Summit. And this is a nice drone. Make sure you don't, get too close to it. Those blades are pretty sharp. Blades of glory there. This is my friend Marcel. I just met him. Marcel is with Brandvault, and I just told him, we've got all this cool stuff behind me. But I don't have any idea what any of it is. So you're going to have to explain what Brandvault is to me and to our viewers.
Yes, okay. So Brandvault is the harvest optimization company, essentially, that you may have known as Bushel Plus. So we were formerly named Bushel Plus. We just rebranded globally because now we have customers in 45 countries. And this started a decade ago in my basement as a hobby. And it was just about helping farmers saving more grain at harvest. So now at Brandvault, we have what we call a smart pan system, which measures the grain loss out the back of a combine and helps us calibrate the loss sensor and the loss display in the cab. So we have a system that essentially drops a pan off the machine through electromagnets with a remote controller from your phone. That falls off the machine keeps going, and we collect a physical sample to quantify the grain loss. And this was actually endorsed by John Deere last year, and where John Deere said, hey, we need a strategic partnership on this because it's so innovative to help set combines.
Marcel, this is really interesting to me because I hear all the time from the agronomists here at Purdue University, the corn and soybean guys. It's just one of those things that we just can't measure. How much loss are we getting out of the back of the combine? You're telling me that we can kind of figure that out now.
Yes, we've solved it. I can confidently say we've solved it. Like I said, we have customers in 45 countries, and we have lots of testimonials, and we use it in any type of crop. So anything, rice, wheat, canola, corn, soybeans, you name it. If it goes through combine, peanuts, we're measuring peanuts grain loss. Like if it goes through combine, we measure it. Yes.
And then, once we get that information, what do we do with it?
Yes, so what we do, we calibrate the loss sensor in the combine. So the display in the cab can actually tell us what's going out the back versus guessing when the display goes up or down. So we basically have a system that we then teach people on how to do it, which is, simple, quick, and easy. Because if it's not simple, quick, and easy, a farmer doesn't want to do it. Let's be real. I'm a farm kid by heart. Like if it's not simple and quick, nobody wants to do it.
Amen. I know it's got to be simple and quick, especially when adopting new technology for farmers.
Yeah.
You held a program earlier today ahead of this program.
Yes.
If you could just talk a little bit about what that program is, something that you offer to talk about harvest optimization.
Yeah, so that's our educational department called the Harvest Academy. So a couple of years ago, we acquired a company in Germany called AgTraining, and they did 20 years of combine clinics all over Europe. So we combined their expertise and our expertise, founded the Harvest Academy, and we do anything from half an hour pep talk about a certain topic at a seed meeting or at a dealer meeting, or all the way to a 5-6 hour combine clinic where we crawl through a combine together. So through the header, feeder house, threshing, separation, calibrating, all sorts of things. And we did a condensed version today in 2 hours just to introduce people to what we talk about usually and the issues that we see in the field and how we can solve them together. Yes.
So really just kind of a crash course in all of these things that you held here today that some folks were able to come and check out. We heard here earlier, Marcel, that all these companies, they're in different stages of life. Talk about where Brandvault is. You mentioned you used to be Bushel Plus. Where are you in this stage of life?
Yeah, that's a good question. Stage of life, it still feels like startup. I have the privilege to work with a lot of great farmers around the world. But we also have 30 employees around Australia, US, and Canada. And we've been doing this now for a decade. And it's just been a lot of fun because we wouldn't be here without farmers. So how this started actually was I went to a trade show with a sample after showing it to a few farmers. And then over 30 farmers were at the booth and said, "Hey, I want this system." I said, "Okay, I don't have any here to take home. I got to build them first." And they went, "Yeah, no problem. Here's a check." And that's how I got the business going, to start buying parts and building systems and deliver them to farmers. So it's so ingrained in our culture to do the right thing for the farmer and the company because they helped us get going in the beginning.
What has it meant to you to work with a company or an organization like WHIN, coming to events like this, meeting farmers, getting that feedback from farmers?
For us, it's really awesome because there's lots of innovative minds here, and to get that direct feedback, honest feedback as well about, hey, some challenging questions. And we learn what farmers need in the field, right? Before we expanded our Mad Concaves aftermarket concave lineup, we asked a lot of questions first of what farmers really need on issue solving, and that's what we're trying to address. So WHIN is really good. And the other thing what I like about is they vet the companies that come here. So they talk to a lot of farmers about us before they allowed us, in quotation marks, to be here, right? So if these farmers wouldn't have good things to say about the value we add, we wouldn't be here. So that means a lot too, that a certain type of companies are here that actually make a difference, which is cool to see.
What's next? What are you excited about most here for Brandvault?
So we usually have always something in the R&D pipeline. So our aftermarket concave setup and the Mad Concaves is something that's going to be growing in the US. There's lots of interest here solving issues around better grain quality, better seed quality. People that grow seed soybeans, for example, and have some tough conditions in corn. I think we can help a lot with that kind of stuff. And that's probably a big step. Plus, I said earlier, we're now in 45 countries. And the Smart Pan system that we talked about measuring grain loss, like I said, it's endorsed now by John Deere. And they're now looking at, well, how can the Smart Pan system go to every farmer? Because it helps everybody put more grain in the bin. So that really helps.
And what have conversations been like here today?
When we started the Harvest Academy this morning, I thought to myself, am I telling these guys anything new? Because again, there's innovative minds here. And then afterwards, they came up and said, you know what, this was a really great presentation. One of the professors from Purdue came up to me and said, this was one of the best presentations I've ever seen. It's very humbling for me. I learned English on a two-way radio. I'm from Germany originally. So this was really, really cool.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, no, not at all, eh? Yes, so that's where this how this came about, the feedback. So it's appreciated. We're humbled here.
Marcel, thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate it, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Yeah. Thank you.
Greg Allen is here with me now, the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit, and things are about to get started again back up here on stage. But man, this is some pretty cool stuff, Greg.
I am fairly new to the whole farm experience. I've been with Hoosier Ag today for 1 year. Before that, it was limited to livestock. And so seeing some of the innovations out here, this isn't your great grandpa's farm out here anymore. This is
unless your great grandpa was unbelievably technologically advanced,
way beyond his years. But and I was saying to the big robot out in the field from.
You're speaking to it, yeah? From SalinFtech?
I was, yes, SalinFtech, that's what it is. And I said, I asked the guy the question, I said, what's it like to be the coolest thing out here, because this is really cool how it all works. And he says, yeah, we get that a lot. But just, I mean, just to see the innovation that has come from necessity, the need is this. Let's think of a way that we can use technology to help us through all these things. And it's so cool to see how people have thought through this and have put it into action.
Well, it's something that we talk about a lot on the Ag Bioscience podcast from Agronovus, is that if you're not solving a problem, if you're not innovating to solve a problem, are you really innovating at all?
Right.
And all of the folks here, like, you can tell the homework has been done, the vetting has been done by WHIN. Like, yeah, they're solving a problem, a real problem, and they're getting that feedback from farmers. And I think that might be the most valuable thing.
And I thought it was really interesting. They're getting feedback from farmers here right now. I mean, it is right now that they're getting the feedback. And in fact, I was sitting there going, boy, if I were one of these companies, I don't know that I'd want to see this feedback. I'm sure it's very valuable for them, but it's kind of scary. Do they like me? Type of deal. So.
Yeah, we get our feedback just in the Facebook comments, but
yeah, and it's usually from anonymous
keyboard warriors. But no, this is a fantastic event. Really looking forward to the rest of it here. They're about to take the stage again.
Yep.
We've got more coming here from the 2026 WHIN Ag Summit here in West Lafayette, the Purdue Research Farm.
We're just going to continue to give you a live feed of people milling around, talking to all the different vendors here, and we'll get started here in the next minute or two, so please stay with us. Go ahead and take it.
All right. All right, everyone. So we're going to be on the back half now, and we're going to be talking about anything from stages 4 and 5 to CO2 sensors, and we're going to have these farmer feedback slides kind of coming up just to give you a little more context about what we've been up to this summer, collecting data. I've been calling and texting all of you guys, trying to get this information. So what frustrates farmers most about technology, specifically AgTech? Number one, data silos, integration, record keeping. That was a dominating factor. Second up, subscription fees and ROI, the cost. How much is this actually going to cost me, and why do I have to keep paying for it month over month or year over year? Usability, notifications, passwords. How does this thing work? This app is clunky. This app is too thin or too bloated. There's a lot there. So you guys are having some frustrations for sure. And then reliability, obviously. Does this thing that I just spent so much money, time, and effort on, does this actually work? The equipment, breakage, compatibility with the systems that you already have in place. These are things that all of our farmers think about. Again, just from the surveys that you guys have taken over the summer and from phone calls and texts and meetings with me, these are some of the frustrations that you've shared, and we thank you for that data, because this is how This is what we take in to make sure that these new technologies fit the bill. All right, I'm going to take a couple minutes now to talk about something a little different. WHIN partners with tech companies from all over the world to bring you the good stuff. As we see maybe gaps, maybe opportunity, the crack engineering team at WHIN every now and then is able to put something in place to serve our farmers well. The latest that we've done, especially in the bin space, is the CO2 sensor, temp, humidity, CO2 in the headspace of the bin. Now, this is an extremely competitive option. Are you getting volume sensing, ring levels? No. But are you getting the critical factors that are going to affect your grain? Really, the factors that are just waiting to kill that pot of gold. Because that's all a bin is. It's a pot of gold waiting to die. And we don't want it to die. So, we have a CO2 sensor here that, as you can see in the top, it is magnet to the rafters of the headspace. It's got like a 300-pound weight limit, so some of us could hang off of it. Don't do it, but by the numbers, it's a very strong magnet. It also has a secondary backup of a steel cable, so there is very little chance that this thing is going to fall in the grain. But here is what makes this so different. Cellular in bin sites, not everybody has Wi-Fi, and even if they do, again, it's spotty. Bluetooth doesn't work if you go past 12 feet. The beauty about this sensor, it works on a protocol called LoRaWAN. It's very strong. We use it in the manufacturing space quite a bit because it can go through steel walls, it can go through machine noise. In the ag space, on a clear line of sight, these sensors can communicate for miles. And I think, Jack, give me a thumbs up. What's our record? 26, 30 miles? 35 miles these little sensors can communicate. So getting out of a bin to a gateway at a shed is nothing. This is very easy. Installation takes maybe 6 minutes, depending on how fast John can climb the ladder. And usually by the time we get back to the office or the shed, you already have data points coming in. Now, there are lots of good sensor companies out there, bin monitoring companies out there, and usually it goes, the more options you get, the more you pay. So we wanted to take this opportunity and say, how can we serve the farmers with smaller bins? The 10,000, 12,000 bushel bins, where if you go with other companies, sometimes the pennies just don't add up. So the WHIN offering of the CO2 sensor, $750 per bin per year, done. We take care of the software maintenance, the hardware maintenance. John actually customizes the dashboards for you. You will get preventative alerts via text or email. So as temperature and humidity start to rise, once it crosses a threshold of maybe parts per million or degrees that we don't want it to, text messages and alerts go flying out and lets you know, hey, you don't have a problem yet, but if you don't check it soon, you're marching down the path of a bad day. So these are very powerful sensors to give you a baseline of what's going on in your grain. And coincidentally, I'm pretty sure harvest is coming up. So it's actually a very good time to consider these sensors and this platform. Now, I say all this knowing that WHIN is a nonprofit, and I've told all my farmers here this 100 times, I don't get commission for any of this, right? If you guys go back and buy 100 sensors, I don't get any commission. WHIN exists to provide resources for you guys to be better, okay? So is John in the back? I told him to stay in the back. Phil, how about you raise your hand? If you guys are interested in the CO2 sensors, go over to that table and just have a conversation with Phil or John or Jack or Josh. If your name doesn't start with a J, it's really hard to work at WHIN. But go back and find out some more information and see if it's a good fit for you. Again, we're here to help, we're here to serve, and this is one of the ways that we can do that. Okay, we are going to jump into stage 4, WHIN customer pilots. Technologies are tested under real farm conditions. This is, in my opinion, the junction point. This is the crucial time when WHIN can really get an idea, is this technology worth its salt? Or were we just sold some snake oil? We have to figure out if what we've been reading and hearing and speaking and everything is actually what it's going to say. And to speak to the WHIN vetting process, again, very slow, very strict, very stringent. Sometimes companies get frustrated with us on how slow we go, to which I respectfully say, that's okay. I have 100 farmers in 2 different countries who are looking to us to provide them with solid technological resources. And the worst thing that we could do is rush it and then come to find out that in reality, this doesn't work like it said it did on paper. That would be a very bad day. Trust would be broken. Our farmers would not be so eager to work with us anymore. So we are very careful when it comes to moving along the process. These custom pilots is where the rubber meets the road, okay? So we're gonna go through a handful of technologies, and I am going to call up some farmers. So Brian Brost, Jason Stonecipher, Scott Fritz, and Dean Lamb, if you guys could all come up, and do we have a picture of the farmers' smiling faces? If not, you guys can, no, I guess not. You guys can sit wherever you'd like. Oh, no. Nope, that's next one. That's all right. All right, sit under your picture if you can. Brian, swing over here. Brian, come over here. Oh, goodness. We try to make everything as easy as possible, and sometimes we just fail. So here, this one is going to be on. Okay. Did I turn off? There we go. Okay, so we are going to go into our first company. This is Brand Vault. For anyone who took the Harvest Academy, you learned all about what Brand Vault does this morning. If you didn't, let me tell you a little bit about what they do. Mad concaves, quick and easy change out. I've heard a total time of 15 minutes swapping these out. Now you think about how long it takes to change out your standard concaves on your unit now. 15 minutes is quite the improvement. It's lighter and it's faster. They also have a mini combine, which is portable moisture testing, so you don't have to take the combine out. Okay, lots of harvest-related resources through Brand Vault that are going to allow you to be even more dialed in. Okay, simple, verifiable bushels per acre savings. John Deere promotes the Smart Pan. That's their other offering to monitor grain loss and to get a good idea of what's actually happening. So. I'm going to talk about all the companies all at once, and then we're going to talk about, we're going to have some questions, okay? So the next company is Gecko. It's coming. Gecko is out of Canada, and they are predictive weed mapping. And what they do is they will find imagery of your fields from the past 5 years, satellite imagery or anything that was taken in other platforms that you may have had. And they are going to put it in their system, and with their algorithms and all their models, they're going to give you prediction on where the weeds are headed, where they're going, so you can concentrate your efforts next season to make sure that these weeds stay at bay. Okay? AI-powered predictive weed and herbicide resistance maps as well. There's no hardware needed, and it works with any GPS sprayer. The next one is Verge Ag. And Verge Ag is all about optimizing the paths. Optimizing fuel, optimizing your implements, making sure that everything is lining up. Anyone who's ever been part of a harvest plan knows that it is an orchestra. It is a symphony of a lot of different pieces that have to match up at the right time in the right place. Otherwise, you're wasting time, you're wasting fuel, you're wasting money. So they are going to optimize your pathways, and the programs can actually even take it so far as to help your equipment make turns, which we all know is one of the most inefficient parts of this program. So, path planning platform, simulating and optimizing machinery routes from field boundaries, cutting overlap, fuel, and labor, making all those pieces fit together as best they can. So, for my panel farmers, we're gonna talk about pilots kind of at a high level, okay? And the seasoned veterans of the WHIN Alliance here, we have some who have been with us the whole time, some have been with us for a few years, and some are brand new. So I'm very curious to see what are your thoughts on pilots, and anybody who wants to answer this, you can just jump in, but what motivates you to actually participate in a pilot?
We all want to be more efficient, and ROI's the bottom line. You know,
Okay.
if we can make our job easier and use less chemical, use less fuel. It's a win. So.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, always looking to drive ROI and trying to make more money in this game, which it's hard to make money. But for our farm, it's trying to do more with less. We're not blessed with a tremendous amount of employees. We're not a big farm by any means. So trying to maximize our time from a management level to be able to look at technologies that maybe save us a trip to the field, save us an input, or just make us more efficient in general is kind of where I'm at. That make us better at what we do. That's what drives me.
I'm not sure I can add a lot to that. Excuse me, I just hate some peanuts. I'm not sure I can add a lot to that, except that there's a lot of jobs that we've done over the years, and a piece of technology can actually help us do that job better and quicker. I'm all for it, but at the same time, it's got to prove itself for more than 1 year. If I'm going to use it for 5 years, it's got to continue to build a return.
Yeah, you think about the reasons for adopting all this. It's been are we the newest of our farm, the newest member, Josh, of WHIN?
Brand spanking new.
Yeah. So, I really appreciate you vetting these companies and talking about the trust in this co-pilot process, especially after Josh lied to us about the whole exercise thing there at lunch. But no, what you said is exactly right. We're looking for those partners that are enthused and care about it as much as we do, the things we do. And we were part of the harvest thing before lunch today, and that was fun to go through that. Those guys are sharp and earned their spot here.
Okay. Now we'll just work our way backwards. Everything that you guys just said individually, at gut shot, face value, Brandvault, Gecko, and Verge, which one do you think you would actually be interested in piloting, and maybe just why?
For us, it's probably the Brandvault.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't pay a lot of attention to your list. So but I did visit with Grainvault for a little bit, and I do think there's some things there. I sit I used to sit at the head of the table. Now I sit at the tail of the table, and when the staff out there, the guys that are doing the work, it's got to be something that they're going to want to do, and it's something that they're going to have to feel comfortable doing. So that's the evaluation part now.
So I just bought the Brain Vault or Brown Vault. How do you say that? Brain Vault. I just bought the Brain Vault. So there you go.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. But I bought it because I think as we look at the way we harvest, we went through the harvest training this morning, which obviously I was a little skeptical going into it. You walk in going, man, what can I learn from this? But it actually was very informative. Took quite a bit of information from it. But I looked at it as a different way. We talk about tribal knowledge is passed down from our dads or our grandfathers, and I look at that as a way to change the way we calibrate the combine, change the way we adjust the combine, and I think that's the way we've got to look at these technologies. How can we do it better? I echo what you said. How can we do it better and more efficiently with the people that we have? And so that's why I jumped on board.
Well, I missed the meeting this morning. It sounds like I missed a good one. I'd say that's probably the one that I would possibly be interested in. The same thing, though, that you mentioned, the operator or other operators would have to be 100% in, or it's not going to work. It might be a good fit with my crew. So
okay. Now let's pretend a little bit. Let's say we're moving towards a pilot with whatever companies you guys just talked about. What are some things that you would want these companies to know that would make a pilot really good?
Easy adaptation, because a lot of us are already trying a lot of different things, and we can make a mess real easily if we try too many things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tough. I would echo what you said. Yeah, ease of implementation, ease of installation. it's got to pay the bills at the end of the day. I mean, it's got to be something that's going to be a positive ROI, or it's not worth doing, really. There's no wiggle room on the farm. We all know that. And so it's got to have a positive ROI. It's got to save us time. It's got to be easy to implement. So we want the easy button.
Yeah, I've thought about technology over my career, Josh, knowing that this was coming up. The technology pretty much helps us do what we always did better. But the technology of the future is starting to look at AI. And so do we actually have confidence in that AI decision maker, or are we going to stick with just the technology, that drives a tractor straighter than we used to, or tells us what the CO2 in the grain bin is, or are we going to start adapting technology that in effect does management? I don't want to go quite that far, but it actually starts making management decisions, and then we check the box as to whether they're going to do it or not.
Yeah, just to add to what you guys have already said, labor's tough anymore, and it does have to pay, as we've all said. So we're looking for those things that keep the return coming, make it easier.
Okay, now I'm going to really put you guys on the spot. In talking with you guys and with all my farmers, there's three things that I would say every farmer holds very close to their chest: money, time, and energy. You don't want to waste any of it, and there's some that you really, really don't want to give up. If you had to pick one that just was an absolute no deal breaker, which one would you say this absolutely has to be there, or I'm not doing it?
Yeah, I don't know. In today's environment, I was debating whether it's time or money, but it is. I'll say money.
Well, I think it has to be time, but time is money. So there you go.
Yeah, 100% time.
I would have thought you said money. That's fair.
It's close, but it is. If you're not efficient and you're spinning your wheels, it really drags you down.
Okay.
So got to be time.
Okay. Now, all of you on some level have done a pilot, either with WHIN or with other companies. How can the pilot program, with WHIN or with not, or without, be improved? Now, I know, Dean with Lamb Farm being new, but I know you guys have done pilots. I know you've had good ones, and you've had the opposite of good. And then, Scott, Jason, and Brian, you've done WHIN pilots. So how can WHIN, how can these companies improve a pilot?
Boy, that's tough, because I've seen the top for us is Ag's in, and then I don't even need to mention the other one because it's not going anywhere. You got a good thing going. Just keep to it, I guess.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out which one didn't work. Okay, yeah, that was the other one. That was my second guess. Yeah, there's been a couple that haven't worked, but for the most part, they've all worked, and they've all worked very well, and they've all done what they said they were going to do, at least in my opinion. And the pilots have been easy. I mean, they've most of them that we've had to install were easy. And that's only been one. You guys have done everything else. So, I mean, you guys have a great crew. I mean, that's why I'm here, really. It's because of you guys. So, I mean, you guys do what you say you're going to do, and I can't see how you can improve on it too much, to be honest.
Well, I've always said that WHIN is my R&D, my research and development partner. So when it comes through WHIN, then I'm ready to take a look at it. And I think I've been around long enough that I'm taking that one step farther. It's got to be a activity that's got ROI over the long term, 3 to 5 year window, not just 1 year. So it's got to build on. It's got to make me money the first year, and then it makes me more money the second year, and makes me more money the third year. And I'm finding that those kind of pilots they're hard to find.
I don't know if I get a pass on this one. Well, I'm looking forward to doing a pilot.
Okay. I'm going to go off script here. I debated whether or not to ask this question, but I'm going to do it anyway because it seems to come up every year, and it's just a good conversation around it. There are some programs out there that actually pay their farmers to do pilots. what we talk about with our wind farmers is definitely a regional development type mentality. We're all in this together. We're doing this for, yes, for your farm specifically, and it's not trite or cliche, but for the greater good of Indiana farmers. So what do you guys think about being paid to do pilots? Does that go against the WHIN mission? Would that motivate you or other farmers to do pilots? What are your thoughts?
Well, being a new guy, I'm not totally opposed to that. At the same time, I want to pay my way. I don't mind if it works. Like you said, if it pays back year after year, I don't mind paying for it. Pay it. Just pay it.
Okay.
I mean, I struggle with that one a little bit. I think if you're getting paid for it, does that dilute the mission? I don't know. I feel like we are. Some of these things we've gotten a fairly deep discount on, and I think that's helped pay the way on it. So I guess I'm not looking to get paid for it. I do think I'm pretty passionate about data and our data. I feel like we need to be paid for our data, and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother meeting.
Well, ditto right there.
Mm-hmm.
Our data is important, and we're getting paid for some, but some we should be paid for all data or retain it. But I don't think you want to change what you're doing now because you're getting honesty right now.
Can you and Jason maybe flesh that out a little bit? You know, the data, monetary compensation for data. What do you think that could or would look like?
That's a loaded question, actually. What kind of data is it? How long term is it? How valuable is it? How long did it take you to acquire it? How much do you have? You know, that all plays into, I've got 25 years of yield data in Ag Leader SMS software. What do I do with it? It's worth something to somebody. Or is it? Is it even, how good is long-term data in agriculture right now? The hybrids that we were planting even 10 years ago, are they still valid? Is that data still valid? So that's a huge question. But I do think, as farmers, we tend to be subscription payers and not subscription takers. And so I think if there's one thing that's worth a lot of money on the farm, it's data and all the data that we've collected over the years. So, I mean, you can argue it a lot of different ways. So that's kind of where I stand with it.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. And, we have some spirited conversations in the office about how can we improve pilots? How can we, serve and help our farmers even more? And just to kind of reiterate the process of the vetting and the importance of pilot studies, not everyone makes it. Johnny said and Jason said a couple hundred companies in the pipeline right now, but we only have 7 or 8 tech partners. Part of it is maybe there isn't a fit for our farmers here in Indiana. Maybe the company is a little too early, or maybe, just something. We've had companies that end after, conversations end after 1 or 2 meetings. We have some where they go up to a pilot study and then we can't quite figure it out. And then we have some that even go to pilot stage and then die right before the finish line. And I won't go into any details, but that has happened. It was rough, but at the end of it, we were actually very happy that we didn't push that out without doing a pilot study. That would have been a disaster. So we went through the process, even though all of us were very excited about it. We stayed to the process, and it revealed its true colors, and we did not move forward with it. And we did that to protect the farmers and the WHIN Ag Alliance, really. So I can't say thank you enough to you guys and how you participate. Yeah, Scott, go ahead.
I just kind of flippantly made the comment to pay, but what farmers bring to the table is worth a huge value, a high value to these companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind doing it for free, and I always have. And sure, I get a little discount, but what if I decide not to buy that project? But what any of these farmers bring to the table can't be duplicated anywhere else.
Yep.
So just recognize that and say, here's a payment for what you provide.
Yep. No, that's great. I really appreciate that. Yes, sir, Mr. Steve. I believe so. Yep. That was a really unique situation. Even as we were trying to get the pilot, helping it, Jack and the team, they went out and they were digging on these guys' combines and they were trying to make this work. I mean, we really do everything we can to try to support and serve the farmers with these projects, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's kind of the whole point. Yes, ma'am. Mhm. Yep. Yeah, and to go back on how we can make pilots better, that taught us a lot. And I think that model of, hey, let's have some pre-meetings as a group. Let's bring everyone in and have conversations directly rather than just handing farmers off to a tech company. So we actually gained a lot of knowledge out of that in how we operate through the pilot process. So for everyone who was involved in that pilot, I'm sorry, but thank you. It was very valuable for WHIN. Any other questions either for myself or for the yeah, yes, sir, Mike.
I don't always agree with Scott, but I think what he said about the data and the amount of opportunity that these companies have that you're vetting in using farmers and the acreages that they have. I mean, how many thousand acres are represented up there for one company to get data and spend time on those farms? That's an immense amount of capital that they're accessing for free, and I'm not sure that you at WHIN
And charging you for it in the process.
Yeah, I realize are capturing that value when you go to these companies.
That's a really, really good point. Yep. You guys have any comments to Mike? Thumbs up.
That was my point earlier. I should have finished the thought process. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who works for a big regional ag retailer, and they're rolling out a new software platform, and it's all great, and it's so many dollars a year, and you can put all your data in it. We can do all your stuff, all your soil sampling, all your yield data, all your planting data, and it's $500 a year or whatever that is. And I said, well, you're using my data. Well, no, it's not your data. It's not your name's not associated with it. I said, you're aggregating my data, right? Well, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, we are. So I just paid them to aggregate my data, and that's what I struggle with. That's where I feel like, that data is worth something, and we're paying for the privilege for them to use it for free. So.
Yep, that's great. Any other questions? Okay. Let's give a round of applause for our farmers who are, again, just helping us out. We really appreciate it. You guys can go. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. All right, we are going to go to stage 5 now, after this slide, of course. So, stage 5 is WHIN Tech Partners. So, you guys now have inside look at what the WHIN team goes through daily to find these companies, to prove them out in some capacity, and to bring them to our entire alliance here in the WHIN network. So we're going to talk about what actually happens when a company crosses the finish line and becomes a WHIN Tech partner. So before we get there, we do have some other farmers who are going to be helping us with this as well. So Doug Hubner, Nathan Tebby, Alex Lamb, Lana Walpe, come on up. And again, just to reiterate, not every company we talk to becomes a full tech partner. And not every company who even becomes a tech partner might even do it on the first round. Sometimes there's some improvements to go through. And again, we're just trying to make sure that everything we bring to the network, to the WHIN Ag Alliance, is the good stuff. So we're going to march through a couple technologies. I promise these questions are going to be easy and light, kind of fun, and we'll get through it together, I promise. So let's talk about our first technology. Okay, AgZen. AgZen is a bolt-on retrofit camera system to your sprayer. And what it does, it can go on any sprayer since it is a retrofit. And what it does is it takes pictures every 2 inches in real time, up to 18 miles an hour, and actually gives you the amount of coverage that you are applying to your leaf. So they don't necessarily care about what you're spraying, they care about how efficient and effective is whatever is coming out of those tips. So they're going to give you a picture in real time. Are your droplets too fat? They're bouncing off and hitting the ground. They're not killing anything. Are your droplets too small? Maybe your boom height is too high, the wind speed, the pressure, everything. They're going to give you these recommendations in real time to optimize your application to the tune of about 30 to 50% savings. Okay. The umbrella statement behind AgZen is they're going to make your tanks go further. They're going to either help you change your rate or get your fields really clean, depending on your goals. You actually enter in your goals and what you desire out of this field, and in real time, again, they're going to give you recommendations. Now, you'll have a little tablet next to you. You can turn off those recommendations. I don't recommend it, but there's always extenuating circumstances as to why we do what we do, and sometimes it just doesn't add up. But they have data and metrics behind it where I think 80 to 90% of farmers make at least one correction, and they begin to see those savings start coming through. So that is AgZen. Digifarms. Make sure I get my notes. Digifarms is very interesting, and I want to make sure I give you the good stuff. Preventative disease programs. Okay, so their hotspot is fungicide, and how you do it, when you do it, how much, all of the details and questions that you have to ask to apply this correctly. You can set up multiple plans and programs. I think you can do like 7 or 9 different programs at once to find that yield prediction. And if you don't like the number, you can go back and change the characteristics and data points to try to hit that number. Their newest addition is an AI model. His name is Daz, who will actually walk and talk with you through all of the steps and process of your application. IntelliNair. Everyone has had some kind of imagery or mapping of your field. They do it in 3 different ways. They have a very sophisticated satellite option. They also do drones. What made them very popular with the wind farmers was actually fixed-wing aircraft. So while satellite can work great, assuming there are no clouds, and drones can work well, but the acreage per day or per week is less, a fixed-wing aircraft can fly all 10 counties of the wind region proper once a week. So through this platform, you are going to get insights on what your field is actually doing. You're going to get reports once a week for, I think, about 13 weeks. Once before planting as a baseline, so all your pictures are going to be brown. And then once a week, all the way through V stages and tasseling, all the way up to harvest to let you know what's going on with your fields. So you're going to get reports that are color, you're going to have your fields with your rows, some are green, some are yellow, and they're going to say, hey, based on this streaking and striping, you may have some residue left on from your bean head. You might want to go check that. Or you see these splotches and patches here. That looks like a little bit of a rodent infestation. You may have voles. You may want to go check that. They're not telling you how to farm. They're just telling you what's going on in the middle of that field. So you can make the best decision possible. When farmers with WHIN have adopted this, a lot of them have actually said this is my total farm management tool, and they don't make a lot of decisions until they consult the maps, okay? And I always say, these aren't kids coloring pictures with crayons on a napkin. These are computerized images. There's no reason to lie. So you can trust the images on what they're showing, and then you can go and make sure that you solve that problem. Solimtech with Solix Robot. I'm sure everyone here has seen the autonomous spot spraying robot out there. Their new Updates are, it goes up to 2 miles an hour, which may not sound like a lot, but the increase in acreage is proportional to the increase in speed. So now with 2 miles an hour, you're looking at 700 to 900 acres per week. And what this is going to do is at 2 miles an hour, it's going to cruise up and down your fields. It's going to look for vegetation that doesn't belong. It could be green on green, could be green on brown. When they see it with their vertical upright cameras, they're going to turn on the appropriate nozzle, kill it dead, and move on. One of the success stories that we have heard, some farmers, I think they're in this room, they had about 575, maybe 500 acres to spray. They unleashed Solix on it. And then they said, of those 580 some odd acres, we only sprayed 7. So 7 acres of actual application was used to maintain this field. Now, it is a 40-foot boom, so this is not a silver bullet. Do not sell your broadcast sprayer. That's not how this works. This is a supplemental tool to get your fields at an even higher baseline and keep them clean and ready to go for the normal operations, okay? TerraClear, very cool. This is one of those things where I said when I heard it, I wish I had thought of that. Rock picking and mapping services. Everyone has rocks on some degree, and rocks always seem to turn up year over year no matter what we do. So they will fly your fields with a drone and actually give you a map of where the rocks are. And then you have the option of either you can go and pick it yourself or you can hire them to come and pick it. Because basically if you and I were to go out and comb a field, we would go row by row and just look for rocks. But since they've already found them, they can actually also give you a fuel and route optimization path. So instead of going comb by comb, you can go here, 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 and you can get it without wasting more time and more fuel and more resources. So very cool idea from TerraClear. Okay, so those are some of the pilots. Actually, those are the tech companies that have made it across the finish line. And so we're going to ask some questions about the actual tech partners. And again, they're very easy. So we're going to start off with a very simple question. Lana, could you elaborate on how you adjust your nitrogen mineralization rates and real-time variable rate side dress applications when I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I did that just to have some fun. I promised the question. It's probably better that it wasn't on and they can hear what you told me.
I only speak Shakespeare. That was not Shakespeare.
Oh, good. All right. So some questions about our tech partners. What kind of value or confidence does the vetting program, the vetting process give you when it comes to evaluating these technologies that can be made available?
I think I'm going to look at my husband, I can't see him. We've looked at most of the top ones that you've talked about, and some are still a good fit and some have not been a good fit for us, but like AgZen, I absolutely think is fantastic, except we've gone away from doing our own spraying. Rocks are a big thing on the Fowler Ridge in Benton County. I think that's where the glaciers stopped. We've used a little bit of that at times too. We've done Inteller. I think it's great. We found a home with the SlimTech, and that's been our gold. But I think all of these, and that's really important, is we're all individual farmers. We all have different acreage. We all have different sized farms. So I think it's really an individual choice what works best for us.
Yeah, so I'm new here with WHIN, so I've not been through the whole process yet, but looking at all the steps, it definitely would give me confidence. And we've had conversations on my farm with several of these companies, and I definitely see value there. So thinking about, okay, if I see value in it, it's obviously made it through the process here. There must be a lot of value in some of these other companies that I have not looked at. So I would have quite a bit of confidence to at least start the conversation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the list that we get from you guys at least gives us some level of confidence that, we don't have to go through all the work start to finish. We've all been there. I had somebody stop at the farm and pitch you something that sounds great and, maybe it didn't work, or even worst case, it made something worse. So it's nice to have at least a funnel that, of companies and products that gets condensed for us to take a closer look at, whether we end up implementing them on the farm or not.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the confidence piece and the time that was spoken earlier in the group before. I mean, we only have so many hours in a day and so many technologies that we can look at, and each farm is unique. Having the confidence throughout the program and being a part of it and knowing, hey, this one really worked for me. I did go through the pilot. I've put it on the farm and we're using it in complete across all the acres. If there's other technologies, then those have been vetted out, and making sure that it works for our operations is really the only thing that we got to look at.
Before WHIN, what did your personal process look like? How did you guys find out about anything new out there?
So for us in our operation, we're in the seed industry, so we do have a lot of opportunity of looking at different technologies and seeing more on the biology side of technologies, not equipment side. But we're in a lot of different operations or a lot of different places with those technologies. This helped broaden that view to more technologies that are operational by nature for the farm. So it actually has helped our technology horizon be a lot wider, a lot larger breadth of perspective.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. My background is in precision ag, so I used to work for a precision ag company for a number of years. So I was exposed to a lot of products just from a competitive standpoint. I ran the technical support team, so we got to see a lot about what didn't work with the products that I repped and the other products. Farm shows, the old traditional methods that we all had, the magazines. But I think it goes back to what Doug said. Doug, right? My family, we farm in Tipton County. We got a lot of seed production that takes place, and there's a lot of interest in data, as we've talked about, some of the other growers here. We've been doing, I remember when I was little, we did DMI tillage implement trials on the farm, and we took that to yield. But we didn't go find that. Some of that was, reps came to the area because it's a large seed corn production area. So some of it was regional. We just had access. Somebody stopped by the farm, or my background, or going to farm shows. It's been a mixed bag, but.
Yeah, so I'll just re-echo, the farm shows have definitely been a big place for us. And then just some of our industry connections, some of the retailers we buy from, they'll bring products out to us for us to try, or other connections will bring products to us for us to either try out or even recommend to some of our neighbors.
We come at it from a different aspect, and I want to say there's farmers of a certain age, and my husband, I think, is included, has been very, very proud of farmers his age, because when they were in high school, computers were those little cards that you were doing whatever with. So it was a very difficult jump for farmers my husband's age. They're like, from 50 to whatever, to get their fathers on board with the technology. Is very difficult to do that. This is the way we've done it, and there are still farmers out there that are, mower plowing, and if that's what they want to do, that's great. But it's hard sometimes. Progress in farming is a four-letter word. They can spell, but it's just hard for them to do. But Steve has been very involved with the soil and water. We have a ag conglomerate at our house, and I've been involved with Farm Bureau. And so those have been two places where we've been able to get with people, like-minded people of a certain age, where we can talk to our peers and learn things. I mean, you always can learn from your fathers and your grandfathers, and I think that's invaluable information to use, but it's also good to be courageous and take that step to the next level, and do that through whatever the farm shows or like other organizations in your county, to learn about soil conservation and different ways of farming.
So being WHIN members and seeing the menu, if you will, of our tech offerings, of the companies who have made it across the finish line, has this changed your decision-making process? Has the WHIN model affected the actual decisions of the farm in any way?
Yeah, I think so. I think and again, I'm not bring up the age factor because that's always it, but we are trying to do things smarter and not harder. It's pretty much Steve and I. Be sorry for my husband. I spent 18 years teaching high school English, but I was a farm granddaughter. So it has to be something, if it can make it my life easier in the combine or in the planter or wherever, that's great. And I think that's important.
Well, since I'm new, I'm going to kind of speculate. I'm going to say it won't really change anything, just refine my ability to find those things that will drive ROI, save time. We already do strip trials on the farm, so I will assume the pilots will be similar to how we do it. So I just think it'll just help us find those products faster.
So I think in general, it has impacted what we're doing on my farm. Even if it's just from looking at something from a different perspective, or saying, hey, I have that problem, and this company solves that problem or claims to solve the problem, maybe I ought to be taking a look at it, or what else can I do to be more effective and efficient and save time? Time as a resource is very limited. So it has already impacted our operation. A handful of technologies we were tried out or we're looking at for the future.
Yeah, so I'm going to look at this question a little bit different. I think it's impacted us two different ways and maybe a third, and recently this has kind of came to light for me. To fully utilize our membership and fully utilize the WHIN team as a tech partner, tech support on new innovations. Recently there was a conference up in Chicago that it's called Automate. It's in a manufacturing setting. We're also members of the manufacturing alliance with WHIN as well. And I was looking to go to the conference, wasn't able to go because of my schedule and obligations I had. Come to find out, WHIN attended that conference. And so rather than me having to go take time to go to that, utilizing WHIN as somebody, as an organization that was already there, which was a lot more effective than me going up there for a couple days and walking around the show. They had a team, they had a lot more experience and knowledge of those things, and gleaning that information of what may be learned from that conference is one thing that I'm going to utilize better, because I just learned that here in the last month, 2 months. The other piece is around new employees in our organization and innovation and being able to pull top tier talent out of universities and giving them projects, giving them engagement in your organization. It's small things, but it empowers the next generation to come back into organizations. So, that's two things that I'm looking at, our partnership with WHIN and how do I utilize it long-term. Obviously, it's in new technologies to help the bottom line and ROIs, but it's in some of these other things of bringing in new innovations, having a team of people that can be places where you can't when you're not able to be there, and then also engaging younger talent to bring them back into your organization to help you on continue to build organizations.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Last question. This may sound silly, but it's actually kind of serious. After seeing the process and everything that WHIN does, is tech adoption still scary?
Tech adoption is not scary. Carving out the time to adopt and implement the tech to its full magnitude is probably the scary part for us.
Okay.
I think for me and my farm, I think the scariest part is just recognizing that you are going to have to adapt technology, whether you want to or not. Labor shortages, input costs. 3 years ago, I was in the camp of, and I have the background of precision ag. I will never have an automated tractor on my farm. That's just not where I thought we needed to be for the future sustainability of the operation. And today, we're walking around going, damn, how fast can we get one? So I think that's the scariest part, is maybe recognizing that technology is wonderful and it's needed. And like you said, carving out the time to figure out how to fit that into your operation effectively and efficiently so that you don't end up going backwards is, probably the scariest part about it.
Yeah, I don't know if scary is necessarily the right word, but talking about the older farmers, any sort of change can be hard, whether it's technology or any sort of change in your management practices. As humans, we're creatures of habit. Breaking that habit is the actual part that you have to get over. The technology adoption, it's just the form of change that you have to adapt to. That would be my opinion on that.
Well, I'm like you about the autonomous thing, and then here's my husband with a big old paper all about it. I'm like, well, dang, okay, let's do it. It is. I don't know if it's scary, but it makes you uncomfortable, and that's not always a bad thing. I think change elevates your level of stress and comfort. But again, if you've ever done something uncomfortable and gotten through it, you're like, whew, I did it. And I think that's not always the way farmers go. It's like, oh crap, I did it. But anyway, I think we're going to have to do that. I think if you get stuck in the mud, you're really going to get stuck in the mud if you don't progress, because you can't get left behind in this technology. I think it'll be too hard to catch up, or very hard.
One last thought on that. I think one of the scary parts is, as we hear about all these new technologies, number one is the capital needed to implement these technologies, and how fast can you go? And if you get left behind, how far behind am I getting? How quick am I getting? And as technologies develop quicker, that speed of adoption has to happen faster. And how do we resource and how do we pull that in? Because the return on investment generally isn't 1 year, right? How do we implement it and how do we pay for it becomes a critical aspect moving forward.
And to add to that a little bit more, like, when you picking the wrong suite of technology is probably the worst part of it, right? Like, I thought this technology was going to be here for the next 5 or 10 years, or this company was going to be here. You get a year into it and there's a merger, or there's a sale or a bankruptcy or whatever it is, and you're like, now I got to start all over and redo all of that capital investment and all of my planning for the future that I thought I had figured out.
I really appreciate your guys' thoughts. At WHIN, we do all this. We provide resources. We don't sell dreams, right? Like we try to be very open and transparent. And the goal is my goal specifically is to build a relationship and trust to where, like, if Doug had a question, he can call me as some kind of a consultant or trusted advisor to either A, give him the right information or get him in front of someone who can give him the good information. And that's our whole goal, is to provide you with resources, to be that horsepower behind you. Even with technologies that we have vetted out for maybe 6 months or even a year before, like, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be with you when this is installed and implemented. If you have questions, you call me, and it's my job to either answer them or kick doors down until I find the right person, right? So, Lena, go ahead.
This is just something I thought about. We talk about these big technologies, but also the other aspect of WHIN, which is helping us in our county, and Chuck's here, is the broadband still. It's still in rural communities. We have a hard time getting connected. And WHIN is a monstrous resource for connectivity. If you are still out in the boonies, and there are still people out there who drop signals, cannot get stream TV or whatever. I mean, it's just basics. But you also have that component that people might not know about, that whole technology and internet broadband is a part of WHIN, and it's there for you to use and to help in your communities.
Yeah, if anyone lives in the boonies and you need better broadband, again, go back and talk to Phil, and he can give you every bit of information you would need about availability, cost, everything. So yes, thank you for pointing that out. Round of applause for my 4 friends up here. I really appreciate your help, guys. Okay, so as we land the plane on the 2026 summit, let's go to another transitional slide here. Oh, go back. It's a good one. Okay, so this just shows, and again, we did surveys either in person, via text, and we're very thankful for all the help that you guys gave us. This is just another demonstration or a pictorial representation of your answers. So again, we may think we know where we should go, where we can help you the most with new technologies, but we rely heavily on our farmers to give us the actual guidance on what's going to be important. So according to our farmers, you can see where these categories fall in rank of importance to our farmers here in Indiana. So grain bin monitoring is real high up there, combine vision, spray coverage, feedback. You guys can see the list. We have lots of technologies to work through and to offer. And again, we can't do this on our own. I don't even want to try. We lean really heavily on our farmers to help us because you guys are the pros. You've been doing this a long time. So we go to where the good information is so we can bring you the good stuff back. So, okay. Like I said, I'm not going to threaten anyone this time, but I would really, really appreciate it if you guys could do the summit survey. This is very important for us because in a couple days or next week, the WHIN team is going to get together and say, all right, what went well? And what do we need to change? What do we need to keep? Who do we need to fire? No, I'm just kidding. But we go through these surveys one by one, and we correlate this data to how we performed and how we can do better for you next year. So pretty please, if you could take a few minutes to do that survey. While you're doing that, a couple things. We actually, maybe for the first time in 7 years, have ended early. I never thought I'd see the day. But we have some extra time. Go back and talk with the founders and the companies behind you. Talk to Phil and John about CO2 sensors and broadband. We have a little extra time before, if you signed up, before we stroll over to Waltz. I believe Waltz is starting, I think, around 5. So do the survey. Talk to tech companies. Go see the robots and all the good stuff outside. If you are a new farmer or a farmer who's not in the WHIN Ag Alliance, please come and see me. I would love to share with you more about WHIN and how we can support your operation. If you have any questions, just find any of us in a WHIN shirt and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Other than that, thank you for coming. This was an awesome event and I really appreciate you guys coming. If you could give yourselves a round of applause. Honestly, this was a great summit. Come on, you can clap, it's fine. So if you need anything, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll see most of you over at Waltz. Thanks for coming, guys.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Trevor with AgZen, and I'm here to talk about our product, Real Coverage. Real Coverage is the first and only system in the world that allows you to see the percent coverage you're getting on your plants in real time during your spray. Not only do we let you see the coverage, but we then help you optimize it and reduce volume so that you can get the best spray possible while saving on chemical.
Hey, I'm Daniel Jenkins with Autonomous Pivot. Autonomous Pivot converts standard center pivot irrigation systems into an autonomous farming platform for agronomic data collection. So we recognize that the pivot's an underutilized piece of equipment. It's out there 365 days a year, and yet it doesn't tell you anything about the field conditions, soil moisture, rainfall, pressures. So with the AP system, we convert that from simple metal pipes into its own farming robot that's able to provide continuous scouting from around the field. We've shown strong success west of the Mississippi, and we've got a proven solution that works, and so we're excited to partner with WHIN to bring our solution to growers here across Indiana.
My name is Charles Simons. I'm from BioScout. We're an Australian-based company. We focus on the automation of spore counting, and what that means is we can help farmers better understand the real risk on their farm by applying less chemicals, moving away from blanket applications of agrochemicals, but all focusing on timing and the real issues in hand. Farming is hard enough. Our main focus is to make farming easier. If we can maintain that strategy, we can make farmers globally apply less chemicals and save money. Hey, I'm Marcel Kringer. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Brandwald, formerly Bushel Plus, and we are the harvest optimization company. So we are passionate about making harvest more efficient, put more grain in your bin, so you have more money on the bottom line at the end of the day. How do we do this? We have a smart pan system where we can quantify the grain loss. We have an aftermarket matte concave lineup of products to help you have a better grain sample and more efficiency at harvest. And we have another system that's called a mini combine plus a harvest academy on educational departments. You can find us on all social media channels on our website, brandwald.com.
My name's Phil Bell. I'm the COO at WHIN, the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network, and I'm here at the Ag Summit to talk about broadband. So WHIN moved into broadband service about 6-7 years ago as an enabling technology for both ag and manufacturing. So in rural Indiana, good quality, robust broadband was a hard to come by commodity when we first started. And so we built a network of 15 towers with next gen fixed wireless asset. It's called Tirana is the supplier. And we provide 50 to 400 megabit per second service over most of the region in White County and Benton County. So we've been at it for a few years now and are growing. We run with what's called VNOs, so local individual ISPs, so virtual network operators, connect to our neutral host network and sell broadband to their neighbors and friends.
Hi, I'm Alex Jacquim, CEO and founder at DigiFarms. We are a unique platform that helps in plant management and all the season decisions regarding mostly disease management, but we have all the other aspects of agronomic decisions that you should need. Picking the right seeds, the right products, ideal timing when you're planning, but mostly during the season, adjusting it as things are changing. DigiFarms has its unique AI assistant as well, DAS, that will be in your pocket, helping you in any decisions, being very proactive, not as reactive assistant. Check digifarms.com.
Hello, I'm Tracy Woodmeyer, co-founder and CEO of GRIP. We basically help farms keep track of anything that they think is important enough that their operation uses on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We put QR codes on equipment, facilities, irrigation, you name it. The unique thing about us, every issue reported, every checklist filled out has a conversation stream. So all the text messages and WhatsApp streams never exclude or leave the farm anymore, all handily through a QR code scan.
Hey, I'm Blake Rutherford from Intellinair. We use imagery from the full season. We're starting at planting all the way through harvest. We also collect weather data, machine data from combines and tractors. Everything that's going on in the field, we take that information and use it to help improve yield limiting factors for our growers throughout the season. So whether it's emergence, crop health, disease, harvest timing, yield forecast, we're looking at plenty of different attributes throughout the season to help find inefficiencies and focus on solving those problems for our farmers.
Hi, my name is Derek Getchie. I'm the CEO of Ag Infotech. We're an ag technology company in Ohio and Indiana. We're here today at WHIN representing Sabanto. Sabanto is an autonomous retrofit kit for a few John Deere models and Kubota models. The main benefit of autonomy is efficiency. So efficiency with employees, efficiency with capital expenses on buying equipment. We really feel now is the time to begin to invest in autonomy and automating your farm. So in 5-10 years down the road, you got a full ecosystem of automated procedures.
I'm Jake Church with Scarecrow Technologies. We are supplying drones in central Indiana, and we're here to help farmers and other professionals get drones, operate drones, service their drones. We would love to talk to you.
Hi guys, I'm here with Sentinel Ag. My name is Jack Tickner. I am our Eastern United States account manager. So Sentinel Ag uses satellite imagery to monitor and predict nitrogen stress in a wide variety of crops. So we're using real-time data with satellite imagery on a near daily basis to monitor and let the crop kind of tell us when it needs nitrogen, how much nitrogen is being used by the crop. We also have soil moisture insights as well, so we're able to provide irrigation scheduling and soil moisture insights on a daily basis through satellite imagery and crop modeling as well.
Hi, my name is Paul Raymer. I am the president and co-founder of Soil Optics. We offer a high-resolution topsoil mapping technology. Overall, what our technology offers for farmers is helping them identify where the pockets of opportunity are in their fields. So their field is, let's say, their factory. We help identify all the spatial opportunities of each and every soil property they could be chasing: phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, pH, etc. And what we're helping with, let's say, a data set, we're helping to be able to advance, let's say, those decision makings, again, to be able to chase efficiency and not only economics, but also the environment. Thank you very much.
My name is Phil Bell. I'm the COO at WHIN, the Wabash Heartland Innovation Network, and here to talk about CO2 sensors today. So WHIN is active in both agriculture and manufacturing, and the manufacturing side is where we've been focusing on IoT to improve the operations of manufacturers. Well, that know-how is directly applicable to sensing carbon dioxide in the head space of bins. So as grain and beans, as they have biological activity, that obviously has an impact on the quality of the commodity. That biology, one of the first things it does is produce CO2. So a simple CO2 sensor in the headspace gives a very early, very simple, very cost-effective warning to the farmers that they need to go and turn on the fans or move the grain and intervene in some other way to preserve the quality of their crops. So we've been doing this for shy of a year. $750 a year per bin is a nice low-cost insurance policy for the high-dollar commodity that's in those silos.
So I'm David Taylor, account manager with SlimTech. SlimTech is an AgTech company. We've got a Solix robot that is scouting the field while also target applying it. So we're seeing the weeds and only spraying the weeds out there in the field. We're across 13 states in 2026. We'll be expanding to 25 next year. We'll have close to 200 robots in 2027. And you can learn more at slimtech.com.
TerraWave is about storage monitoring using radio waves, and you can think of our technology as an MRI machine for grain bins. And what we do is we send waves throughout the bin and map the entire mass of grain using radio waves and detect any spoilage before it's too late, unlike the existing technology, which samples a portion of the bin. Think of as the existing technology, for example, picks up about 10 bushels of grain or monitors about 10 bushel of grain in 5 to 10,000 bushel bin, while radio waves that we use pick up any spoilage within the 10,000 bushel commodity. You can come and visit us on our website, www.terrawave.ca. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. I'm Mohammed Asafi. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Hi, I'm Chris with Weedit. What we do is help customers improve their sustainability and help them with the stewardship of their land. We are precision spot spraying, where we're a chlorophyll detection sensor. We are looking for any plants that have active chlorophyll in it, and then we're turning on the sensor and solenoid associated with that. So rather than spraying full fields, we are spraying precisely where the plants that have chlorophyll in it. We're not caring about color, we're just looking for chlorophyll. Predominantly, we're being used in pre-seed, post-harvest, fungicide, and desiccation markets. So yeah, our owner developed this in the Netherlands in 1999, and we've been doing this across the world ever since.